We're finally gonna do 1,000 mountains. This is Artem's birthday card. I don't remember which number, what year we're on, but I guess we're going hiking. I'm just kidding. Welcome to the Capital Lawyers Association. Please show me your ID. After verifying their identity, the receptionist brings them to the association's lobby. There, Rosa immediately spots Artem, who has been waiting for her. Their eyes meet, and he comes forward, gently taking her hand back from her.
끌어들여서 미안해요.
Sorry for dragging you into this. Don't say that, I'm alright. The man looks as composed as ever. His calming presence soothes her frazzled nerves, chasing away the anxiety that had built up from rushing over. You told it to Beck and he said we should probably have asked for directions. Yes. After a brief silence, she voices the question on her mind. Why is an inquiry being held? The email mentioned something about breach of conduct and a complaint, but
규정 위반은 가짜고 제보는 진짜예요.
the breach of conduct is a lie, but the complaint is real. This succinct answer only makes the situation seem even more mystifying. While on a business trip, she'd received an email from the Lawyers Association. The email writes that Artem has been suspected of professional misconduct. Not Artem, and is a person of interest in an anonymous allegation of wrongdoing. The email did not include any details about the complaint that was filed, but only summoned Artem to an inquiry that would be held in the capital. As his work partner, her attendance was requested as well. Although Artem has contacted her about this, it seems there are some things that he'd rather not say over the phone. Thankfully, she was already in the midst of closing her case at hand. After wrapping up the loose ends, she immediately came over to join him. So this... Okay. Didn't we deal with Artem being undercover for one of his birthday cards? It's hard to keep track of like every story, but I remember something maybe about the pool. So, is this related to that? Artem would never. I know, right? He is way too upright and outstanding of a citizen. Is it an act of retaliation by someone involved in the case you've been working on? Artem has been offering legal aid to a client recently. Although it started as a simple case, more and more parties became embroiled in it over time, causing Artem to burn the midnight oil almost every night. This reminds me... I'm sorry. No. It's not time for Baldoni Watch. We'll catch up on Baldoni Watch later, okay? Vin must have set him up! At the question, Artem lowers his gaze, hesitation creeping over his features.
아마도요.
Maybe.
어쩌면 아버지랑 관련된 일일 수도 있어요.
It could also be something related to my father. Your father? With your father? With uncle? She blurts out in surprise. She still has a ton of questions on her mind, but then she hears loud footsteps coming from the other end of the lobby.
이쪽이 유명한 백 변호사님이신 것 같네요.
This must be
반갑습니다.
Mr. Mitwing.
이번 신문의 담당자 장휘성이라고 합니다.
It's nice to meet you. I'm the one in charge of the inquiry, Ian Jung. It's a pleasure to meet you. Interesting. His name is Korean. Okay.
그럼 응접실로 가서 이야기하시죠.
Then if you'll follow me into the waiting room, we can start. Having identified himself as the inquiry officer in charge, Jung shows Rosa and Artem to the waiting room. He gestures to the couch by the side, inviting the two of them to have a seat.
긴장하실 것 없습니다. 오늘은 기본적인 내용을 확인하기 위한 자리고 아직 공식적인 신문 단계는 아니니까요.
There's no need to be nervous. I invited the two of you here today to verify some information. We won't be conducting the official questioning yet. Rosa and Artem seat themselves on the couch, and Jung kindly begins the conversation across the slim, narrow glass coffee table.
최근에 온라인 대출 피해자를 대상으로 법률 지원을 하고 계신다고 들었는데 맞나요, 백 변호사님?
Based on our understanding, recently Mr. Wing has been providing legal aid to victims of an online peer-to-peer money lending scheme. Is this correct?
맞습니다.
That's right.
백 변호사님 정도 되시는 분이 무료 법률 지원이라니. 협회에서 표창할 만도 하네요.
Considering how much that it usually costs to engage you as an attorney, the association commends you for offering legal representation pro bono. Jung chuckles half-heartedly, his eyes devoid of mirth. that's disturbing. Then he takes out a document and pushes it towards Rosa and Artem. She looks at the document. It's a recently published statutory interpretation draft relating to repressive measures taken on illegal peer-to-peer money lending.
새로 발표된 법안에 대해서는 두 분 다 들어보셨을 겁니다.
I believe the two of you are familiar with this draft that has been published? Rosa's glaring already, wow. As a lawyer, it's a given that she'd paid attention to every new law passed. For certain lawyers, Rosa. Not everyone is up to your standard. When it was published, the law firm had immediately organized a study group to parse and analyze it. Once the new statutory interpretation comes into effect, it's only a matter of course that dubious peer-to-peer money lending organizations would be severely impacted. Rosa's gonna stand up for her man always. As the new legislation would have far-reaching implications and involve strict regulations, it created an uproar the moment it was published. Amidst well-founded concerns and discussions, there's no lack of felonious companies taking advantage of the chaos for personal gain. Felonious, wow. The one heading the implementation of the draft is Mr. Brian Wing, the current Chief Justice, and also...
깜빡했네요. 입안하신 분이 백 변호사님의 아버지셨죠?
I almost forgot. The judge who drafted the interpretation is Mr. Wing's father, isn't it?
사전에 내막을 알고 계셨기 때문에 피해자 지원에 이렇게 적극적이신 걸 테고요.
This is what they're accusing him of, dude. This would have to assume that he talks to his father. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so mean.
사전에 내막을 알고 계셨기 때문에 피해자 지원에 이렇게 적극적이신 걸 테고요.
So because you've received insider new information in advance, isn't that why you've been so proactive in assisting the victims? Malice laces Jung's gaze. Oh, here it comes. He's such a liar. General questioning my ass. Which is locked onto Artem. Despite this being the two men's first meeting, for some reason, the former has taken a decidedly hostile attitude toward the latter. However, Jung's goading remarks merely makes Artem raise his brows.
아버지를 떠나서 약자에게 법률 지원을 하고 최신 법률에 관심을 기울이는 건 변호사라면 누구나 할 수 있는 일입니다.
Oh. Okay. Providing legal aid to the underprivileged and paying attention to judicial trends are things that any lawyer would do.
장 변호사님, 그냥 단도직입적으로 말씀하시죠.
Mr. Jung, perhaps it's better that you just say exactly what you want to.
좋습니다. 아들을
All right,
돕기
then.
위해서 대법원장이 직권을 남용해 해당 법안을 적극 추진했다는 신고가 있었습니다.
The authorities have received a complaint that accused the Chief Justice of abusing his authority. It's alleged that he... Okay, actually... do I read this or translate it? You know what? I'm just gonna read it. Okay. The authorities have received a complaint accusing the Chief Justice of abusing his authority. The whistleblower alleges that the senior Mr. Wing had only pushed for the statutory legislation so his son might benefit from it. Bold of you to assume I speak to my father, right?
협회에서는 백 변호사님이 혈연을 동원해 새로운 법안에 대한 정보를 미리 입수해서 사리 사욕을 채운다고 의심 중이고요.
Oh.
이에 대해서 당신을 조사할 예정입니다.
The association currently suspects you of using familial ties to acquire knowledge of the new legislation for personal gain. We will be conducting an investigation on you. Rosa's heart sinks. She suddenly realizes what Artem had meant when he said that this crisis might have something to do with his father. Artem doesn't refute Jung's accusations immediately. Instead, he casts his eyes down in quiet contemplation. What Rosa can do now is... I think we should trust him to think this through. Since Artem brought up Uncle just now, he must have already had an inkling of the circumstances. If so, he must have his reasons for keeping silent now. I don't have the full picture of what's going on. If I give in to impulse and speak, it'll only give others a weapon to wield against us. Better wait and see for now. Yes, this is what a good lawyer would advise their client to do and should do. No need to yap if you don't have to. After thinking it through, Rosa suppresses the urge to do something, adopting a wait and see approach instead. Seeing that she and Artem have both elected to keep their own counsel, Jung chuckles slyly. It's clear he's an old hand at dealing with situations like this.
두 분 다 걱정 마세요.
You don't need to
배우자의
worry.
일방적인 주장에 기대지 않고 사실대로 조사할 생각이니까요.
We won't simply take the complainant's word for it, and we will be conducting a impartial investigation into the matter.
오늘은 이만하죠. 정식 신문에는 이틀 후에 있을 예정입니다.
Let's stop here for today. The official inquiry will be held 2 days later.
그때 가서 어떻게 잘 설명할지 한번 생각해 보세요.
Think about, or carefully think about how you're going to explain all of this on that day. With those parting words, Jung leaves the waiting room. Despite learning of the whistleblower report, Artem has presented a calm and self-possessed front the whole time. He turns to Rosa and lightly presses the back of his hand against her cuff in reassurance.
내가 잘 처리할 테니까
I'll take care of it,
걱정하지 마요.
so don't worry. We will take care of it. She corrects him firmly. Baseless accusations won't amount to anything, so I'm not particularly worried. Did you already know this was going to happen, though?
소식을 듣고 어느 정도 짐작은 했어요.
I had figured it out after I heard the news.
최근의 분쟁 건은 딱 이거 하나였거든요.
Because this is the only...
우리 쪽 당사자는 피해자라 제보원 쪽은 온라인 대부업체일 거예요.
Oh, because this is the only controversial case I have on hand at the moment. My clients are all victims, so the only one that could have filed the complaint is probably the peer-to-peer moneylender.
나보다는 진짜 그쪽에 위협이 되는 건 새로운 법안이거든요.
But more than me, I think they're more worried about the new legislation.
그래서 아버지를 노린 거라고 생각했어요. 가족 관계가 비공개라고 해도 아예 방법이 없는 건 아니니까요.
I think my father is the real target. Although we've taken care to keep our ties a secret, it's not hard to run a background check on me and find out about our relationship. Then how are things with Uncle now?
법안을 둘러싸고 반대의 목소리가 많다고는 들었는데 자세한 상황은 아직 모르겠어요.
I heard the draft has been met with vigorous opposition, but I don't know the details. Suddenly, the sound of Artem's phone vibrating cuts their conversation short. He glances down at the screen.
아버지 전화네요.
It's father.
이쪽 상황을 아신 것 같아요.
He must have heard. He stares hesitantly at the caller's name on the screen, but eventually picks it up after a few seconds. See? He doesn't talk to his dad. He's so awkward about it.
네, 아버지.
Yes, father.
지금 수도예요.
I'm in the capital.
네, 지금 같이 있어요.
Yes, we're together. Rosa's name seems to have come up in the conversation. Artem puts the call on speaker, after which she hears a no-nonsense voice come through the phone. Wait, is this the first time that we've heard on this stream Artem's dad's voice? Are you ready?
그래. 차 보낼 테니까 만나서 이야기하자.
Oh, all right. I'll send a car. Let's talk later. Oh my gosh. In person? Rosa turns to Artem in surprise, only to see that he is no less puzzled than she is.
지금 보자고요?
Meet now?
피하는 게 좋지 않을까요?
Shouldn't we avoid that?
지금은 그럴 필요 없어.
We don't need that anymore. Yeah. Is it a handsome voice? I don't know. What do you think? I think it's an older voice, right? Oh! This is what he looks like! Oh, I probably shouldn't have clicked on this. We probably shouldn't have seen too early.
그럴 필요 없어.
Oh, we don't need to do that.
지금은 그럴 필요 없어.
He sounds tired. He sounds tired. The man on the other end of the line replies assertively.
그럴게요.
All right. We'll do that. Okay. We got a sneak preview of how Artem's dad is going to look. Now I guess we'll see him in person. 20 minutes after the call, a modest black car pulls up and sends Rosa and Artem to Brian's residence in the capital. The manor is decorated in a fusion of understated elegance and rustic charm. The only thing that stands out is a wall of books, a clear reflection of what the master of the house indulges in. Brian isn't home at the moment. According to his secretary who showed Rosa and Artem in, he had called for a press conference at the last minute and even arranged for a live broadcast of it. In the meantime, Rosa and Artem are to wait for him here. That's just Artem with a mustache. We'll see. Rosa breathed a sigh of relief when she hears that Brian won't be home soon. Even though she and Artem are already engaged, she hasn't had the chance to properly call in on him as his son's fiancée the whole time. Oh, wow. Because of this, she doesn't feel quite at home around Brian like how she does around Kimberly, especially not when their interaction with him has been largely limited to reading about his exploits as Chief Justice in the news.
기자회견.
A press conference. Artem murmurs contemplatively, his brows furrowing. What's wrong?
이 타이밍에 기자회견이면 법안이랑 관련돼 있을 거예요.
Oh, for him to call a press conference at this timing, it probably has something to do with the draft or the new law. Didn't Uncle Secretary mention just now that the press conference will be broadcast live? Why don't we watch while we wait?
그게 좋겠어요.
That's a good idea. Taking a seat beside Artem, she takes out the tablet and navigates to a live stream of the press conference. On camera, Brian earnestly responds to the reporter's barrage of questions, patiently clarifying the contentious clauses of the new regulations one by one.
새로운 법안은 불법 온라인 대출로 인한 대중의 권익 침해를 막기 위함입니다.
The new statutory interpretation aims to prevent unlawful peer-to-peer money lending organizations from harming the public interest.
현재 여론을 모으고 있으니 사회 각계각층의 적극적인 참여와 제안 부탁드립니다.
Oh. We welcome feedback from the public and we ask that members of the community get in touch with us if you have any input on the interpretation you'd like to share. In law school, Brian is well regarded by the professors as an approachable person with a no-nonsense attitude towards scholarly pursuits. When facing the press, he presents himself as an impartial and respected lawmaker. Every word he utters conveys calm conviction, convincing his audience to put their trust in him. Uncle's candid explanation should be able to dispel most people's misconceptions towards the new regulations, she remarks as she looks at Artem. However, his brows are still furrowed and his voice drops to a troubled whisper.
여론을 진정시킬 순 있겠지만 동시에 여론의 문매를 자초한 셈이에요.
It'll allay people's fears and unease, but he has set himself up to be an easy target. As if to prove Artem right, at the press conference, a reporter suddenly shoots a barbed question at Brian.
내부 관계자의 제보에 따르면 가족의 사적인 이익을 위해서 법안을 추진했다고 하는데 이에 대해 하실 말씀 있으신가요?
Oh. But there's a whistleblower who's filed a complaint against you, alleging that you pushed for the implementation of the statutory interpretation purely for the benefit of a member of your family. Would you like to comment? The reporter's words instantly create a furor. Staff members quickly step forward to remove the reporter, but the man under the spotlight stops them. His voice rises and falls rhythmically as he speaks into the microphone, his carefully enunciated response reaching every corner of the room.
재판장을 모욕하고 협박하기는 쉽습니다.
It's easy to smear a judge's name.
모함하는 사람 입장에서 약점으로 삼기 좋은 소재죠.
Oh, every judge has loved ones, and this makes them vulnerable to people with malicious intent.
하지만 협박을 받았다고 해서 법의 수호를 포기할 법조인은 없습니다.
But there is no member of the judiciary, or there is no judge, who will surrender their dedication to upholding the law simply because of intimidation tactics.
법은 세상의 질서입니다. 누군가의 사리 사욕을 채우기 위한 도구가 되어서는 안 됩니다.
The law is the formula of governance. It should never be used as a means to personal gain.
한순간의 여론에 휩쓸려서 법과 사법의 공정성을 의심하지 말아주시길 여러분께 간곡히 부탁드립니다.
I ask that the members of the public have faith in the impartiality of the law and the judiciary and not allow trends in public opinion to cloud your judgment.
이번 건이 사실인지에 대해서는 곧 결론이 날 겁니다.
The truth will come out about whether there is any truth to these allegations. With that, the press conference comes to an end, and the screen turns black. Rosa can't help but muse over the reporter's mention of the complaint filed against Brian and Artem. Now that word that the complaint has leaked, the press is going to have a field day. That reporter sure is well informed.
누군가가 고의로 정보를 흘린 거예요.
Someone gave them that news. You mean the peer-to-peer moneylenders? It doesn't take much more than a moment for her to understand what Artem is implying. The unlawful moneylenders will definitely do all they can to thwart the approval of the statutory interpretation draft, and this period of public feedback is the best time for them to do it.
맞아요.
That's right.
신문회도 그 계획의 일부일 수 있어요.
Yeah, the inquiry is part of the plan too.
신문회를 통해서 제보가 사실이라는 걸 증명하고 우리가 부자 관계임을 밝혀서 아버지의 공정성을 대중이 의심하도록 유도하는 거죠.
Using the inquiry to prove a complaint has been filed and exposing my ties with father, they're planning to manipulate the public into questioning his integrity. The Lawyers Association will be impartial about this, won't they? Or do you think, even as she gives voice to her doubts, she's already figured out the crux of the matter? There is no doubt that the Lawyers Association will remain impartial, but Jung, on the other hand, the motivations for his animosity towards Artem might be worth looking into. Yeah, who is this Jung person that seems to have a personal grudge? Fear quietly takes root in her heart, and her blood runs cold. This means the one they're really targeting is... Glaring car headlights flash by the windows for a fleeting moment before disappearing. Shortly after, she hears the whir of an engine as the driver turns it off. The doors open, and Brian, who was just at the press conference a while ago, strides in. He's back! We get to see him! Beyond the window, night has already fallen. Ebony feathered birds caw in the shadow of the foliage, flying in circles as if spying on the occupants of the brightly lit house. The lights on the other end of the hallway flicker on. As footsteps approach, she catches snatches of a brisk exchange between the two people who have just entered the house.
검사장이 도착했습니다. 오늘 밤 미팅을 취소하시겠어요?
The Grand Prosecutor has arrived. Would you like to cancel tonight's meeting?
그대로 진행시키세요.
We'll proceed as planned. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, here he is, guys. The man of the hour, Brian Wing. Kathy said earlier he's just Artem with a mustache. No, he's a little different. But yeah, he does quite resemble Artem, except a bit more worn down. Yeah, he's definitely been burning that midnight oil. He does have a mustache. It doesn't look too bad, actually. Let me see what happens if I cover it. Yeah, if I cover it, he does look a bit like Artem, but older and more tired. So yeah, you might be right. A comb over. Artem's hair is kind of like that already, actually. So the hair is already very similar. I don't think he had to really do anything to his hair.
아까 그 기자와 관련해서는 소속된 신문사 편집장이 앞으로 인터뷰 원고를 꼼꼼하게 검토하겠다고 전화로 사과했습니다.
Oh, the reporter from this evening, or from the press conference, the editor-in-chief of the newspaper office she works at has called to apologize and has promised to vet interview questions in the future. All right. His reply, though quiet, is enough to let the secretary know how they should follow up on the matter. Oh. As the next wall lamp lights up the hallway, the secretary raises another concern, albeit with some uncharacteristic hesitation this time.
여러 언론에서 오늘 밤 뉴스를 보도했고 온라인에서도 여론이 확산되고 있습니다.
Ooh. Several media outlets have already reported on the matter that was brought up at the press conference this evening, and the news is going viral online. However, the words don't garner a response. Instead, the man leading the way suddenly stops in his tracks, causing the secretary to look at him from behind in confusion. In the dimly lit area between the wall lamps in front, the secretary sees a shadowy figure bending over. He picks up something resembling a matte black razor blade, yet also like an odd bit of paper that had been accidentally left behind. It is only when the man lays the blade-like silhouette in a suspended pot of clivia that the secretary realizes that it is just a diseased leaf that had fallen off. The imbalance of light and dark has distorted a tough evergreen plant into sinister shadows, making even the silhouette of a harmless leaf seem like monstrous claws against the wall. I really enjoy how Themis's writing plays with visual imagery to like allude to like the situation and what's happening. I just enjoy it. The writers have fun. The writers on Vin's team have a lot of fun. But this, yeah, I enjoy how they flex their writing skills here. The secretary's gaze subconsciously lingers on the plant. However, the man in front has already moved on without a second thought.
시작해야겠네요.
Yes, it's about to start. What's about to start? Or we should start, sorry. We should start. The conversation dies down. As the footsteps come closer and closer, Rosa directs her gaze to the study's door. The middle-aged man leading the way is dressed neatly in a suit with a cultured and self-possessed air around him. Despite having had a hectic schedule today, he shows no fatigue. On the contrary, his eyes are aglow with bright conviction. Really, he looked tired to me. Seeing him walk in, Rosa and Artem rise from their seats.
아버지,
Ah, father. Yeah, see, they have the same hair. They have the same hairstyle. I think it's cute that Artem parts his hair the same way as his dad. Hello, uncle. Rosa subconsciously straightens her back. Even though she's now a member of the family, she can't help but become nervous in front of Brian, as though a student toward a teacher.
앉으렴.
Take a seat. After receiving further instructions from Brian, the secretary leaves. Brian then takes a seat behind the desk, where he casts an impassive look at Artem.
수도에 오기 전에 미리 전화하지 그랬어.
You should have called me first before coming to the capital.
제보는 날 노린 거지만 신문에는 널 끌어들이려는 속셈인데.
Oh, the complaint is directed at me, but the inquiry is meant to drag you into this mess. That's because Team Z writes all of Vin's stuff, right?
알아요.
I know. Oh, look at Artem. Artem nods in acknowledgement. Now that Brian has broached the subject, he too begins to analyze the circumstances surrounding his father and himself, his calm and rational demeanor no different from his usual self at work.
법안이 지닌 파급력을 바탕으로 대중의 이목을 저희의 관계로 돌렸어요. 비겁하지만 효과는 확실한 방법이죠.
I always think this is interesting. English usually tends to add a little bit more to make things more spicy than I feel like they do in the other
법안이
languages.
지닌 파급력을 바탕으로 대중의 이목을 저희의 관계로 돌렸어요. 비겁하지만 효과는 확실한 방법이죠.
They know that the statutory implementation draft is under scrutiny by the media and public, so they're making use of it to draw attention to our relationship. It is low, but the effect is undeniable.
손쉽기는 해명도 마찬가지예요. 변호사 협회가 발표한 입장만으로도 소문을 잠재우기엔 충분하니까요.
Fortunately, it's not hard to clear the air. A statement issued by the Lawyers Association should quell the rumors.
여론이 확산되기 전에 처리할게요.
Yeah, I'll take care of the issues before the rumors get out of control.
똑똑히 봤으니까 네가 연루될 필요가 없다는 건 확실히 알았겠지.
Wow. Sorry.
똑똑히 봤으니까 네가 연루될 필요가 없다는 건 확실히 알았겠지.
Ooh. Okay. Since you're very well aware of the circumstances, or since you can see everything very clearly, you should have known that there's no need for you to get involved. Ryan's calm but firm statement carries an air of authority that is hard to argue against.
신문에는 내가 해결할 테니까
I'll take care of the inquiry.
너희는 내일 수도를 떠나도록 해.
Yeah, I'll resolve the inquiry. You two leave the capital tomorrow.
떠나라고요?
Leave? Leave? The older man in front of her has made the decision for her and Artem, apparently leaving no room for debate or refusal. Although the words surprise Artem, he quickly recovers his usual composure.
아버지, 그러실 필요는 없어요.
Father, there's no need for that.
장휘성을 만났는데
I've met
충분히 상대할 수 있어요. 아버지한테도 힘이 되어드릴 수 있을 것 같고요.
Jung, and I can handle him. And besides, I can take some pressure off of you too.
네 능력이야 잘 알지. 물론 상대 쪽도 그럴 테고.
I know your capabilities, and so does he. Ryan chuckles softly in reassurance, but as he goes on, his voice takes on a somber tone, almost as if he's already in a joust against the unseen mastermind pulling the strings.
장위성을 과소평가해서는 안 돼.
You can't take him too lightly,
수도를
or you can't
휘잡고
underestimate him.
말 한마디, 행동 하나하나가 겉보기처럼 그리 만만한 상대가 아니야.
He's well connected and holds great influence in the capital. He's not that easy to unravel.
그렇게 앞에 나서는 사람 뒤에는 이익 집단이 있을 가능성이 크거든.
And there's a chance that there's somebody behind him pulling the strings.
과소평가한 적 없어요.
I'm not, sorry, I have no intention of underestimating him.
그리고 변호사 협회의 절차가 지닌 공정성을 믿어요.
I just-
누군가가 방해한다고 해서 변질되진 않을 거예요.
I just believe it takes more than a black sheep to damage the integrity of the Lawyers Association. Artem explains earnestly. Behind the desk, Brian's smile doesn't falter. Yet, if one were to look closely, they would recognize the skepticism in his eyes.
공정성이 있었다면 너희가 지금 여기 있을 리도 없었겠지.
Oh, if the integrity you spoke of existed, the two of you wouldn't be here right now. The overhead light shines down on both men, casting shadows so close to each other, yet seemingly 1,000 miles apart. See, more of that imagery. Rosa casts her eyes down at the floor. Even though she would love to speak up in support of Artem, the suffocating tension in the room offers her no opportunity to do so. Yeah, that's awkward. She's just here. As the night grows darker... Yeah, he called them out, yeah. As the night grows darker, a glimpse of the clock on the wall seems to serve as a silent reminder to Brian.
이건 법정 밖의 전쟁이야. 개입할수록 더 깊은 수렁에 빠지게 될 수도 있어.
This is a battle of wits beyond the courtroom. The more you intervene, the more mired you'll find yourself.
너희가 무사히 지낼 수 있도록 해주마.
I want to make sure that you two get out of it unscathed.
어떻게 해결하실 건데요? 저쪽이랑 협상.
How will you resolve this? Negotiate with them?
왜? 안 될 이유라도 있어?
Why? Is there any reason I shouldn't? Brian counters, his words heavy with unspoken implications. He leans back into the chair, looking past the vintage bronze desk lamp straight at Artem across from him, as if he can already predict what his son is about to say. With his clasped hands resting on his knees, Artem responds to the rhetorical question with calm neutrality, keeping his emotions fully in check.
협상이 가장 빠르고 대가도 가장 적은 방법이긴 해요.
Negotiation is the most time-efficient and least risky solution.
그 과정이 아무리 복잡해도 법안이 통과되면 모든 희생은 그만한 가치를 가지게 될 테고요. 하지만
As long as the draft is approved, our sacrifices will be worth the trouble, no matter how arduous the process might be. But
저 때문에 타협한다면 숨어서 기회를 노리는 상대한테 가족이 아버지의 약점이라는 걸 알려주는 것밖에 안 돼요.
oh, hang on, I liked that.
저 때문에 타협한다면 숨어서 기회를 노리는 상대한테 가족이 아버지의 약점이라는 걸 알려주는 것밖에 안 돼요.
But if you give in to their demands because of me, you can't do that because then you'll be letting all of your enemies know your weakness.
절 이용해서 아버지를 물러나게 할 수 있다는 걸 저쪽에서 알아차리면 지금 같은 상황이 수없이 반복될 거예요.
Oh. Once they know that I'm the key to forcing you into making concessions, then the situation will keep repeating itself.
만약 협상 과정이 대중에게 알려지면
And if word of the negotiation leaks to the public? As though an outsider looking in, Artem analyzes the situation rationally, narrating the worst possible scenario in the calmest way ever. He dissects the current state of affairs, weighs the pros and cons like a risk-benefit assessment.
타협해서 이뤄진 법안이 과연 공정할 수 있을까요? 그런 대법관을 믿어도 되는 걸까요?
Will equality before the law exist in a legal system built upon compromises? Will the people still be able to trust the Chief Justice?
지키려는 게 가족인가요? 아니면 저희 모두인가요?
Does the justice have only his family's interest at heart or the entire public's?
또 제가 답을 안다고 해도
I know the answer to that.
믿어줄 사람이 과연 몇이나 될까요?
But will the others believe that your commitment to upholding impartiality has never wavered? Oh, what a nice rebuttal, Artem. Also, I really enjoy how non-compromising, I guess, uncompromising Artem is when it comes to the law. I don't know, he's a good boy. Pin-drop silence fills the study after Artem finishes. Such harsh words, yet only spoken out of the desire to protect a loved one. Rosa sighs. Uncle, I know you don't want Artem to be tangled up in this mess in the capital, but it's too late. He's already in deep. Artem and I, we can't just stay on the sidelines like it doesn't concern us. Outside, a wild wind begins to blow, like a treacherous tempest ready to shatter the peace in the study and claim the light overhead. With a sharp whistle, a sudden gust of wind blows through the slightly ajar windows, riffling noisily through the pristine papers on one end of the desk. Brian quickly sets a paperweight on top of the papers and is about to shut the windows. However, Artem has already reached over, his arm venturing beyond the windowsill and into the dark to grasp the bronze window handle. Brian lets out a soft, poignant chuckle as he watches him close the window, shutting out the howling wind.
아직 젊어서 진짜 위협은 본 적이 없을 거야.
You're still young. You haven't experienced real danger yet.
아니요. 다 겪어봤어요.
No, I have. Artem calmly replies as if he had already seen those words coming. His quiet gaze lingers momentarily on his reflection on the darkened window panes before he turns to meet his father's
아버지는 가족도
father's
지키려고
head on.
하면서 간직해온 이상도 절대 포기하지 않으려고 하세요. 그러면 결국 본인을 계속해서 위험에 빠뜨리는 것밖에 안 돼요.
You want to keep us safe, but you're not someone who would give up on your ideals. You can't keep putting yourself in harm's way again and again.
아니면 지난번처럼 저희한테 아무것도 안 알려주실 작정이세요?
Or are you planning to keep us in the dark again like last time? Hint of a backstory? The last time? Artem's pointed words confuse Rosa, but not Brian. He falls silent, lost for words. Ooh! Artem stands tall in front of the four-grid window like an impenetrable barrier, keeping the vast darkness at bay and stopping it from overpowering the light.
아버지를 지키기 위해서든 변호사 협회 같은 곳에 발목이 묶여서든
Whether it's to protect you, to protect you as my father, or simply because of my identity as a member of the Lawyers Association,
이번에는
this time,
제 방식으로 상대하고 싶어요.
I want to handle things in my own way.
네 방식?
Your way? Artem doesn't respond immediately. Instead, he gazes wordlessly at the adjudicator's sword badge. The metal badge catches the overhead light, its glint piercing through the gloomy night like a sword of the light, guiding him to the answer he seeks.
아버지,
Father,
제가 말한 공정성은 존재해요.
the integrity I spoke of just now does exist.
숭고함을 지키고 비열함을 응징하는 숭고한 곳에 세워진 깃발. 누군가는 그의 명예를 지켜야 해요.
Oh my gosh! He upholds noble ideals as well as punishes the corrupt. He's a banner of justice that deserves to be protected. Oh, that's cute. He's talking about his dad. A brief silence later, as if to spur the people in the room into action, the red light on the intercom in the study starts to flash soundlessly. Brian reaches out an arm to pick up the call. As his finger hovers over the button, he pauses and looks at them. Rosa stiffens instinctively, but when their eyes meet, unlike the look of harsh reproach she'd feared, he finds that his eyes are warm and kind.
잘 생각해봤니?
Have you thought about it carefully? Well, there was no context to the question, but she immediately understands. He is asking her if she has made up her mind to face the inquiry hand in hand with Artem. Needless to say, the answer is yes. Rosa and Artem have ridden out countless storms together, and this one will not be an exception. She nods firmly at Brian. Yes, Artem and I will get through this together. Just like what he says, we want to protect you in our own way.
자료를 챙겨주마.
I'll get someone to pass you the documents. Brian finally presses the intercom button and answers the call, instructing the person on the other end of the line to prepare the documents. Shortly after, the secretary opens the door and enters the study with copies of the documents. They pass the files to Rosa and Artem.
직접 대처하기로 했으면 가서 제대로 준비하도록 해.
Since you've reached a decision, you must do everything you can to prepare for the storm ahead. We will.
네.
Yes. Artem sounds as if there is more he wants to say. For a while, he gazes at Brian, but ultimately chooses to hold his tongue. Knowing that Brian has other matters that require his attention, Rosa and Artem bid goodbye. By the time they leave Brian's residence, night has fallen on the city. Nearby, a night market bustles just outside the villa district. The bright lights from the stretch of stalls illuminate the road all the way to the darkness at the end. Rosa and Artem stroll down the street, drawing closer to each other as they do. Out of the blue, he takes her arm and gently steers her to a peaceful corner away from the hubbub.
방금 많이 난처했죠?
What did he say? Just now?
방금 많이 난처했죠?
That must have been uncomfortable? Something like that? Artem. She looks up into his apologetic eyes. Don't feel bad. It was fine. I was just thinking that people take it for granted that being in positions of power means the Chief Justice and his son must be able to act as they please when these people have never truly seen this side of you or your father. When one looks beyond all the differences in opinions, they are just trying to protect each other like any father and son.
평소에 이 정도까진 아닌데.
We're not usually like that. Oh?
평소에 이 정도까진 아닌데. 이번엔
Oh. Okay, he said, normally we don't go that far. But this time, Artem sounds a little down.
아버지가 한마디도 안 하고 숨기고 계시다가 사태가 끝난 뒤에 알려주실까 봐.
I was
그게 더 걱정돼요.
worried that father would keep all of this to himself until everything had blown over. Like the last time that you mentioned just now?
맞아요.
That's right. Rosa keeps quiet, looking at him and waiting patiently for him to open up to her.
아버지가 대법원장 자리에 오르신 해에 범죄 조직 사건을 처리하다가 신변의 위협을 받으셨어요.
Oh. The year that father became Chief Justice, he received death threats while presiding over a case involving gang crime.
협박 편지에는 어머니와 날 가만두지 않겠다는 내용이 적혀 있었죠. 우리가 위험한 일에 휘말리지 않게 하려고 아버지는 연락을 거의 끊으셨고요.
Wow. The letter also threatened to hurt mother and me. To avoid putting us in danger, father nearly cut off all communication with us. Dang. I mean, it makes sense. He really wanted to protect them, but dang.
그때 난 수도에 있었는데도 아버지가 처한 상황을 전혀 몰랐어요.
I was also in the capital then, but I had no idea of the danger that he was in. You were in the capital too? Did you meet with any danger? She can't help but be alarmed. Artem shakes his head reassuringly with a smile.
그렇진 않았어요.
No, I didn't.
협회 일로 우연히 수도에 왔었던 거예요.
It was the Lawyers Association that brought me to the capital then too. The Lawyers Association?
네.
That's right.
변호사 협회의 신인상은 로스쿨 재학생들한테만 주는데 그의 수상자로 선정됐거든요.
Oh. That's right. The Lawyers Association has a tradition of recognizing promising law students by giving them the Best Newcomer Award. That year, I was selected to receive this award.
그리고 수상 당일이 내 생일이라 아버지를 시상식에 초대했어요.
The award ceremony happened to be on my birthday that year. I invited father to the ceremony. Oh no! He probably didn't show up. In the lobby of the Lawyers Association, the vintage clock strikes 4 times. The award ceremony has long since ended, and even the last few guests mingling with one another are starting to leave. The star of the ceremony, however, is still there. He gazes at the bouquet at the staircase by the corner, his eyes downcast. No! This is so sad. Oh. Dude, why did they draw... Look at how they draw his eyes just waiting. Oh my god. This is really well done artwork. One by one, the chicly dressed guests depart. He watches them leave, just like how he had stood there expectantly scanning the guests streaming in a few hours ago. Don't! Expectantly! Oh my god. Guys, I can't. I was only joking. I didn't want things to end up like this. Deep down, he knows there isn't any point to waiting any longer. Thankfully, his mentor makes no move to persuade him to leave. On the contrary, he prattles away about everything under the sun, kindly drawing a veil over the young man's stubborn and hopeful weight. Guys, I can't do this. This is so sad.
변호사협회 신인상은 네 부모님도 다 받은 상이라서 이번에 네가 받을 줄 알았어.
Kimberly and Brian received the Lawyers Association Best Newcomer Award back then too. So I knew that you would receive it as well.
네 엄마가 국제교류 일로 출장을 가서 못 온 게 아쉽네.
It's unfortunate that Kimberly had to go out of town for a networking event. She wouldn't have missed the award ceremony for the world otherwise.
그나저나 아까 네가 수상 소감을 발표하는 동안 교수들이 와서 네 지도 교수가 되고 싶다고 하더라고. 근데 이걸 어째?
You don't know how many professors came to ask about you during your speech on stage just now, all of them dying to be your mentor. But they were disappointed.
지도 교수 자리는 네가 어릴 때부터 내가 찜해뒀는데 말이야. 안 그래?
Because that position has been reserved for me since you were a teen. Isn't that right? Oh, that's why he smiled. I'm so sad. He didn't smile because they showed up. Oh no. Guys, I can't. Oh. The remark makes Artem smile, though it doesn't do much to tear his gaze away from the departing guest.
교수님, 그만 놀리세요.
Stop teasing me, Professor. Knowing what or who Artem is waiting for, Neil Hume sighs. He braces his hands against his knees and bends over, looking straight into Artem's downcast eyes.
난 네 편이야.
I'm always on your side.
돌아가자마자 네 아빠한테 약속해놓고 바람 맞히는 게 무슨 짓이냐고 메일을 보내야겠어.
Oh.
돌아가자마자
When we
네
get back,
아빠한테 약속해놓고 바람 맞히는 게 무슨 짓이냐고 메일을 보내야겠어.
I'll send your father an email asking him just what he thinks he's doing, blowing you off, or not keeping his promise.
그건 그렇고 그래도 생일인 게 생각나서 선물을 준비했는데 한번 열어볼래?
But that said, he did remember it's your birthday and sent a present. Do you want to open it? Neil gestures at the gift box wrapped with a gold and red ribbon. Artem's grip on the box subconsciously tightens.
빨리 가서 선물 뜯어볼래? 아니면 좀 더 기다려볼까?
Do you want to head back early and open it, or should we wait a little longer? Guys, this is too sad. I can't. Every time I look at Artem's face, oh, they drew it too well.
전
As if trying to cheer a child up, Neil punctuates every word he utters with exaggerated conviction, so much so that Artem can't help but hold out for the hope for the impossible. After all, what if it does come true? Sunlight streams into the lobby, casting a warm glow on Artem's cheeks. He averts his gaze, his voice trailing off to nothing, but Neil doesn't wait for him to continue.
자, 그러면 우리 국제회의인지 뭔지 다시 전화해서 끝났는지 확인해보자.
Then I'll call him and see if that international conference has ended or not.
교수님.
Professor. During his dithering, Neil strides off, phone in hand. He turns the corner and disappears from Artem's sight, leaving behind only clusters of lines that seem pitifully lonely in the empty lobby. By some coincidence, the Lawyers Association has chosen to decorate the premises with lilies today. The flower is a symbol of purity and dignity, yet hidden beyond the surface, out of most people's view, are the unsung sacrifices it makes to preserve its pristineness.
오늘 이 정도면 충분히 제멋대로 끌었어.
Right, that's enough for today. Artem murmurs to himself in the now quiet reception lounge, his eyes downcast. He reflects on his behavior, looking into his heart. After identifying the part of himself where feelings had overcome rationality, he detaches from it and calmly analyzes it, eventually coming to a conclusion.
침묵이 때로는 일종의 부탁이라는 걸 뻔히 알면서
Silence can also be a way of asking for something.
됐어.
Never mind.
이것도 원했던 거잖아.
This is also what I wanted. He waits quietly in the light of the setting sun, aware that he is still here only because there is somebody who loves and cares for him enough to go along with his willfulness. Artem holds up the gift box slightly. By its weight, he guesses that it likely contains a fountain pen, perhaps accompanied by a card written with a carefully thought-out message from the heart. And that's good enough, he tells himself.
그만 돌아가자.
Let's just go. Guys, this is... Oh, the voice actor did a really good job with this line too, I think. I think that's why I'm also like freaking out. Listen to this.
그만 돌아가자.
It's so hopeless. Suddenly, he hears footsteps nearby. Artem looks up hopefully, only to see Neil Hume and no one else. The disappointment in Artem's eyes makes Neil drag his feet, unsure of how he should break the news to the crestfallen youth. Clearing his throat awkwardly, he quickly suppresses his feelings and lets out a laugh with forced lightness.
못 올 것 같은데 그만 집에 데려다 줄게.
I don't think he can come, so let's go home first.
내일 비행기지. 가장 빠른 항공편으로 바꾸고 바로 공항으로 가는 건 어때?
Your flight is tomorrow, right? Shall we change it to the earliest available flight and head straight to the airport instead?
네.
All right. This time, he answers without missing a beat.
내가 조금만 더 주의 깊게 봤더라면 돌아가는 길 내내 무슨 일이라도 생길까 봐 교수님이 긴장하셨다는 걸 눈치챘겠지만
If I'd been paying more attention, I would have noticed that Neil was on edge throughout the journey back, as if he was afraid something would happen.
아버지는 끝까지 아무 말씀도 없으셨어요.
Father never mentioned anything either until the end.
사태가 진정되고 한참 지난 뒤에야 어머니랑 자초지종을 알게 됐죠.
It was only a long time later that Mother and I finally learned of the circumstances back then. That was a difficult part to get through. Oh my god, I was so heartbroken for him. I get it though. He was trying to protect them. But you gotta communicate, Jesus. Artem's voice gradually fades to a whisper as he recounts the past until he finally finishes. It's almost as if he wishes the night breeze could carry his wistful sentiments to his younger self and tell him the circumstances that he and his family would face. Getting presented with an award at a ceremony that happens to fall on his birthday, not to mention the very same award that both his parents received, these coincidences made that day special. It's no wonder he looked forward to it. Something tells her that Artem must have been hoping for more than just having his father attend the ceremony. But with this cloak of emotional letdown over his memories, she can barely scratch the surface of the thoughts he had back then. You're not expected to pick up on all of that. She wants to hold his hand in hers, to melt the shackles of those memories with her warmth and bring him back to the present. But her hand comes into contact with fabric, and she realizes she grabbed onto his sleeve. At least, that was something. Sliding her fingers down the light fabric towards his palm, she finds Artem reaching for her hand. He weaves his fingers between hers, becoming the one to comfort her instead.
알아요.
I know.
과거에는 아니었어도 지금은 맞아요.
Even if I wasn't able to back then, now I should. It's only when she's halfway down the street that she notices the streetlight ahead has gone out, leaving only its inky black shadow behind. She sees resplendent lights at some distances ahead and even where they came from, but there is hardly anything to illuminate that dark alley they are in. Leaning against the faulty streetlight, Artem begins to say something in a barely audible voice. His words dissipate into the night the moment they are uttered.
우리가 가족이라는 걸 알고서 약점을 잡은 것 같아요.
Learning that we're family becomes a weakness.
위협, 협박, 모함.
Danger,
비슷한 일이
threat,
몇 번이고 되풀이될지도 몰라요.
frame-ups, things like this will keep coming.
악을 저지르는 쪽은 거리낄 게 없지만 질서를 수호하는 쪽은 번번이 물러서야 하죠.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, evil people will brazenly do as they please. But those who uphold law and justice must withstand it.
그렇게 되면 안 되는데.
It shouldn't be that way. I know. Artem vocalizes the very thing that she has been worrying about. Something like this is likely to happen again in the future.
그래서 상대방이 보여준 허점을 이용해서 맞서려고요.
That's why I want to strike back at them. You mean Jung? Yes.
오늘 처음 만났는데도 태도가 제보자 쪽으로 완전히 기울어 있더라고요.
He'd only learned of the report today, but he's already taking the whistleblower's side. That does sound off. He should have been neutral and impartial coming into this inquiry, especially when he's overseeing on behalf of the association. Don't tell me
그리고
he's...
내가 뒤에서 일을 꾸미는 입장이라면 신문회처럼 중요한 일은 무조건 내 사람한테 맡겼을 거예요.
And if you think about it, this inquiry is going to determine how the allegation plays out. Whoever's behind this will want to have their people manipulating it.
안 그러면 나머지 계획이 모래성이 될 테니까요.
That's the only way they can ensure the rest of their plan falls into place. Could Jung be... Considering how this inquiry is the first step those peer-to-peer lenders need to get past, it's not unlikely that they've already bribed Jung to guarantee an outcome in their favor.
그럴 가능성이 크죠.
That's possible. Bribed or not, we're sure to find our breakthrough on him. We should look into Jung once we get back. Looks like we're back to investigative work and teasing out clues to get to the truth behind it all. A sliver of moonlight glints in Artem's eyes, and the corners of his mouth turn up almost imperceptibly in this murky night.
이제 우리가 잘하는 분야죠.
Now let's do what we do best. Now that they have a rough plan in mind, it feels as though they found the ray of light that would guide them out of this darkness towards the dawn of hope. Rosa soon comes to the end, or they soon come to the end of the unilluminated stretch of alleyway and find themselves back on the brightly lit street. I hope we can sort this out soon, because if we don't, we'll have to celebrate your birthday here in the capital. There isn't anything wrong with making birthday preparations in the capital, but with the inquiry in a couple of days, she cannot help but feel as though a sword is hung over their head.
같이 시간을 보낼 수만 있으면 어디든 상관없어요.
It doesn't matter where we are as long as we're together. How can... Just as she's about to channel her disapproval and defend her stance on how it shouldn't not matter, she hears something behind her. I love Rosa. A vendor pushes their well-stocked flower cart along the street, wheels rattling as the cart passes them. Artem pulls her in a little closer by the waist, making sure she's not in the path of the flower cart. Along with the scent of flowers wafting through the street, a thought also drifts into her mind. The road ahead may be a long and unlit path into the darkness of night, but vibrant spring blooms within reach make a great gift nonetheless. If I don't end up preparing your birthday gift this time, or in time, would you settle for flowers first? Artem tilts his head to the side, appearing to be seriously considering her offer. Turning around the corner at the flower cart that is now parked in the corner, he chuckles lightly in response.
그럼 약속한 거예요?
Alright, that's a promise. Aw, cute! I love when he laughs. I wish there was a favoring option in this game. I would save all of his laughs. The way he values and chooses to remember an arrangement as mundane as this makes her mind go blank for a moment, though her heart also swells with happiness at the sweet gesture. Okay. I think we're on part 3 now. Deciding to defend their case with something they'll find on Jung, both Rosa and Artem dive straight into fact-finding the moment they get back to their hotel.
온라인 대출 사건으로 분쟁 당사자한테 연락해서 조사받고 사실대로 증언하겠다는 약속을 받았어요.
I've spoken online to all those in dispute with the peer-to-peer lenders. They'll testify when the investigation is underway.
그래도 장휘성이 가장 큰 걸림돌이에요.
Even so, our biggest problem is still Jung. Did his dad go to jail? No! What? Why did you think that? No, his dad wasn't keeping in contact with him because he didn't want the gang that he was judging the case on to go after him, to figure out like that his son was in the capital and that, to go after Artem. So his dad just didn't show up to this award ceremony and just kept a distance. And I wonder if that's also why his mom was suddenly sent out of the capital for some kind of networking thing. And that's also the same reason that Neil um, suggested that night, why don't we get you an early flight out of the capital? Basically, his dad was trying to keep them away so that they wouldn't be in danger as he was presiding over this case, since threats were being made to him and his family. But he didn't tell them about it, so Artem was left waiting at the ceremony for either of his parents to show up, and neither of them could. Um, and so that was the sadness of it all. Yeah, it's very sweet. It's very well written. And I guess like at the time he didn't recognize that that was why Neil was so anxious about getting him, to leave. But he was young. He had no way of knowing that that's what his dad was going through either because his dad didn't talk. I poured over the files from Uncle. It looks like Jung has been the spokesperson for those shady peer-to-peer lenders for a long time now. Oh, that's a direct connection. He's a regular guest at social mixers hosted by the peer-to-peer lending companies, where he uses his position and influence as a senior attorney to promote their services. Will these be enough for the association to assign us a new inquiry officer? Shaking his head, Artem leans over her to read a file on the computer.
적당한 핑계를 준비했을 거예요.
He probably has
확실한 증거 없이 담당자 교체를 요청하긴 어려워요.
an excuse ready. If you don't have evidence, then it's going to be difficult to get a replacement. Evidence, huh? People only go through the trouble when they have something to gain. I'm sure Jung benefited in some way for plugging those peer-to-peer lending companies.
전에 법률 지원을 하면서 법원에 관련 업체의 계좌 거래 내역을 요청해뒀어요.
I already made a request to the court for access to the peer-to-peer lenders' cash flow statements when I was working on those legal aid cases. Artem then points to a list of peer-to-peer lenders with ties to Jung, gesturing a connection between the two.
이 업체들이 범위 안에 들어가요.
These companies happen to be in my request too.
방금 조사 명령이 내려왔으니까
The warrant just came
내일
in.
거래 내역 받는 대로 조사하자고요.
We'll get their statements tomorrow and then we can go through the transactions then. Okay. Lowering his hand, Artem strokes her hair as a tender affection fills his eyes.
내일이랑 모레는 힘들 텐데 오늘은 일찍 쉴래요?
Tomorrow and the next day will be even harder. Should we take a rest tonight? Not yet. I want to do a mock run of the inquiry.
시뮬레이션이요?
A mock run? A simulation? Yeah, the association's inquiry is entirely new to me. I don't want to fumble on the day. And it doesn't help knowing we're up against Jung. Artem lowers his head in thought for a moment before nodding.
하긴
That's right.
통상적인 질문 외에도 심리적으로 우리를 압박하려고 할 거예요.
Not only the regular questions, but Jung is likely to use psychological pressure.
미리 연습해 보는 것도 좋겠네요.
A little practice would be good. Sorry, practice beforehand would be good. Okay. Dragging a chair over with one hand, Artem seats himself opposite her and she feels a somewhat intimidating gaze boring into her.
상대방의 관점에서 생각해 보면 이렇게 나올 수도 있어요.
If we approach this from their perspective, this kind of question might come out.
두 분이 소속된 사무소의 파트너 변호사가 사건을 인계하자마자 그 아버지가 관련 법안을 추진했습니다.
Oh, he changed his tone. A senior partner at the law firm takes over this case, and the next thing you know, his father pushes for a related statutory interpretation.
우연이라고 생각하시나요?
Do you think this is just a coincidence? As Artem gets into character for the mock inquiry, she finds herself more disturbed by the frosty mood in the room than the mental pressure she'd expected. Either the air conditioning is set too strong, or it's the deliberate hardening of his voice that now sounds icy and unfeeling. Something is quick freezing the room, spreading the cold to every nook and cranny. Dang, I would not want to be deposed by Artem Wing. Clenching her fingers against her palm to calm herself down, she collects her thoughts, then goes on to point out a logical flaw in the question. The draft is still open to public feedback, and there is some time before it can be passed into law. By then, Mr. Wing would have long wrapped up his legal aid case.
새로운 사건은 해당 건이 끝나는 대로 맡으셔도 됐을 텐데요.
He would always be able to take on another case after closing the current one. But the man before her trains his uncharacteristically apathetic gaze on her, ready to jump in and twist any potential loophole in her response to bolster his argument.
질문을 바꾸죠.
Let's change the question.
설사 백 변호사님이 아버지에게 도움을 청한 적이 없다고 해도
Even if he doesn't rely on
내가
his
아는
father's
사람들이
position,
환심을 사려고 다가오지 않았을까요?
will that stop those who are aware of his family background from ingratiating themselves with him? Mr. Wing has never gone around telling others about his family background.
그게 무슨 의미죠?
And what does that mean?
겸손한 건가요? 아니면 찔리는 구석이 있는 건가요?
Is it just that he keeps a low profile, or is it that he's guilty? He cuts off the rebuttal that she's instinctively formulated in her head. The way Artem fires these questions so effortlessly makes her wonder for a moment if he has long realized this is how people think of him. Yeah, dang. Dude, Artem's too good at this. After getting a hang of the flow, the tension eases as she gradually regains her composure, increasing the pace of her responses. The barrage of questions, fired one after the other in quick succession, soon pulls her and her subconscious mind into the inquiry, engaging her so thoroughly that she forgets this is but a mock run. Just when she thinks that there's no foreseeable end to this aggressive questioning, Artem leans forward with a gentle smile.
벌써 질문의 흐름을 파악하다니 배우는 속도가 빠르네요.
You're already familiar with what goes on during an inquiry. You learn quite fast.
반대로 질문하는 입장에서 생각하면 상대방의 생각을 쉽게 파악할 수 있을 거예요.
How about we try the opposite role too? Formulating questions from the inquiry officer's perspective can help you understand their thought process better. Artem looks at her encouragingly, but she does not take him up on his offer to play the role of the inquiry officer. Going by her current progress, the questions that follow will zero in on Artem's family background, more specifically to defame and slander him, exactly what her opponent hopes to achieve. Artem would do everything in his power to protect his family, and this happens to be a fatal weakness others can take him down with. She finally realizes what he meant earlier by psychological pressure.
왜 그래요?
What's wrong? Concern fills Artem's eyes when he sees her frozen in place.
피곤해요?
Are you tired?
아니면 너무 긴장해서 그래요?
Are you just too nervous? It's neither of those. Likely perceiving her apprehension, Artem comes to kneel before the couch, easing out the creases in her brow with his fingers. Oh my god, so cute! Her eyebrows have been knitted together, something she noticed even if she failed to realize it herself.
계속해도 괜찮아요.
It's okay to keep going.
조만간 내가 마주해야 할 상황이니까요.
I will have to face it someday.
당신은 못해도 장유성은 분명히 할 거예요.
Even if you can't do it, Jung is going to ask me these questions.
일단 문제부터 해결하고 다른 건
First, let's clear up this issue. As for everything else, Artem then softens his tone.
아무래도 상관없어요.
It doesn't really matter to me. She wraps her arms around his waist and nuzzles into the crook of his neck. The tip of her nose brushes against the thin fabric of his shirt as she sniffles slightly. It may not matter to you, but you shouldn't have to put up with them. She takes a few moments to calm her emotions before shyly pulling away from his warm embrace. Oh my gosh, Rosa's crying! Oh, this is too cute, you guys. I've gotten the hang of it. We can stop practicing already. Artem chuckles in resignation and leans towards her. His lips draw close, only to pause just inches away from her forehead, but the kiss never lands. All she feels is his warm breath lingering on her skin. She spaces out for several moments while waiting until she hears Artem slowly let out a sigh.
그럼 안 하면 되죠.
Then let's not do it. Oh my god. They're so cute. Rosa's crying for him. God, I love them. Soon is the day of the inquiry. The inquiry is proceeding reasonably well thanks to the mock run that she'd had with Artem. She soon realizes Jung has long prepared the conclusion to close the inquiry with because none of her responses matter to him.
새로운 법안이 발표되기 전까지 백유천 씨와 만난 적이 없으시다고요?
So you claim you've never met with Brian Wing before the statutory interpretation was announced?
그걸로 뭘 증명할 수 있죠?
But what does that prove?
요새 연락할 수 있는 방법이 얼마나 많은데.
People communicate in a
직접
variety of
만나지 않아도
ways.
정보를 얻을 수 있습니다.
You can get information even without meeting somebody.
저희가 얘기한 내용에는 기밀 사항이 없습니다. 이견 있으시다면 증거를 제시해 주세요.
Oh. Confidential information was never discussed in any of our exchanges. If you'd like, we have evidence. Jung has been putting on a show of perusing the documents in his hand. Upon hearing that, he clicks his tongue in disapproval and smoothly issues a veiled threat.
백 변호사님, 이런 식이면 곤란합니다.
Oh, I'm surprised. I'm surprised by you, Mr. Wing.
관련 부서와 협회에서는 이번 제보를 주목하고 있고 언론에서도 냄새를 맡아서 당신 아버지도 어려운 상황이다 이 말입니다.
Both the authorities and the association are closely following the whistleblowing report. Your father is also being widely scrutinized by the public, now that the media has gotten wind of it.
성의 차원에서라도 최소한 최근 몇 년간 주고받은 메일과 메시지 그리고 통화 녹취록을 넘겨주시죠.
Shouldn't you provide records of your exchanges over the last few years? Like email threads, text messages, call recordings?
최근 몇 년이요?
The past recent years?
당연하죠.
Of course.
이번에 혐의가 없다고 해서 예전에도 그랬다는 보장은 없으니까요. 협회가 확실히 조사해야 다들 납득할 수 있을 겁니다.
That's irrelevant. Oh god. F this guy. Even if nothing confidential was exchanged this time, what about previous cases? The association can only answer to the public after they conduct a thorough investigation, after all.
게다가 백 변호사님은 대외적으로 가족 관계에 대해서 숨겨왔다고 했는데
And on top of that,
어째서 숨기시는 거죠?
word is it that you've been hiding the fact that you come from a family of law. Why keep it a secret if you have nothing to be ashamed of? That's exactly the thing that was brought up in their mock thing yesterday, of course. Mr. Jung, I understand that the whistleblower report isn't even backed up by any supporting evidence, even as we speak. So please enlighten me. Why are we still asked to submit all kinds of documents to prove our innocence in this matter? Right after she asks this question, Jung turns to look at her. She sees the hunter, who has long laid out his trap, simply waiting for his prey to walk straight into it.
변호사님, 백은우 씨와는 무슨 관계시죠?
What's your relationship to Mr. Wing? We are partners where work is concerned.
그러시군요.
Is that so?
외적으로는 어떠시죠?
And what are you outside of work?
혼연이시라고 알고 있는데요.
I happen to know that you're his fiancé.
변호사님이 의도적으로 두둔하는 게 아닌지 의심할 만한 충분한 이유가 있습니다.
And thus I have every reason to believe you
변호사님
would cover for
진술은
him.
검증이 필요하겠지만요.
Everything you say will need to be verified.
파트너인 약혼녀 그리고 대법원장인 아버지. 앞길이 그야말로 탄탄대로네요, 백 변호사님.
Your partner is your fiancé, and the Chief Justice is your father. You have it quite easy. Oh my god! I want to slap him. They've written a very slappable character. Hi, Beck. Oh my gosh. Beck, I was wrecked during the scene where Artem was waiting for his father. It was so sad. And now we are being deposed during an investigation, I guess. Artem is being investigated, and his father, I guess, for misconduct, like sharing information, like confidential information. Yeah, this guy is an asshole. I don't like him. They've written a very slappable character. Behind glasses, his ruthless gaze sweeps between Rosa and Artem as he eloquently drops antagonizing remarks. Also, Artem's dad looks like Artem with a mustache. He actually does. He looks like a very tired Artem with a mustache. Artem looks up coldly, speaking to divert the relentless and scathing words back to himself.
저희 관계와 제 가족 관계에 대해서 숨길 만한 내용은 없습니다. 사생활 보호 차원에서 공개적으로 밝히지 않은 것뿐이죠.
There's nothing inappropriate about our relationship or my family background. The only reason it's not public information is so I can preserve my family's privacy.
보호해야 할 사람이 참 많으시네요.
There are a lot of people that you want to help, isn't there? God, this guy is an asshole. I want to smack him. Mishins, hello. How are you doing? Jung sneers and picks up the documents before him, carelessly flipping through them. He deliberately flips the pages at an excruciatingly slow pace, a move that also creates palpable pressure around her. Or them. No one... Oopsie. No one knows which page he'll stop on or when he'll lay the next trap for Rosa and Artem, only that he won't let them both off. Okay, to be fair though, Artem, you probably shouldn't have been dating your partner. That was... We're gonna overlook that and all of the HR issues related to that. But yeah, you guys set yourself up for this.
가족, 피해자, 당사자. 왜? 납치범이랑 살인범도 보호해주지 그래요?
What? So many HR issues, right? Family, victims, clients. Who's next on your list to protect abductors and murderers? What a leap, my guy. Jesus Christ. This coming from the guy who is shilling out for the moneylenders. Like, dude, let's look at your record, okay? They should have broken up for real, like on that rooftop pool card. HR would have a field. I know, right? I'm like, dang. The sound of... But I do like that is like something that they don't completely like let it slide. They do make that an issue. Do you know what I mean? I do enjoy that, like... And it's not always, and sometimes they gloss over it, but I do like that there are some cards that investigate how their close personal relationship is an issue. Like, it is a thing that they do need to actually, like, address and justify. But that's because Artem's cards generally care a little bit more about the writing. Artem gonna sleep with the prison warden next. Watch out, Zane. Oh no. The sound of papers being flipped stops all of a sudden, and a deathly silence hangs in the air, making the frigid tone in his voice all the more piercing to their ears.
누가 봐도 범죄자인 사람을 변호하는 것도 정의인가 봐요?
Defending clearly guilty criminals counts as justice to you too? Okay. Or is that just... Yeah. Oh, okay. I would like to smack him. Because how is he on the Lawyers Association? Right? I'm confused, actually. Is he a lawyer? Maybe he's not a lawyer. Maybe that's why he's able to be this type of asshole. But everybody is entitled to a lawyer, right? Even the guilty. It's to keep... Public defenders are a thing, right? And it's to keep, like, prosecutors and cops from stepping over the line in meting out punishment, in carrying out investigative work. Because, yeah, everybody deserves a defense. Even the guilty. Okay.
약자들 편에 서는 게 그렇게 만족스럽던가요? 아니면 인기를 얻기 위한 또 다른 수단인가?
Does it feel good to be worshipped by the underrepresented, or is this your way of making a name for yourself? Controversial cases from before getting dug out once more points to nothing but ill intent. No different from aged paper left out in the sun, discoloring and breaking down in no time.
말씀하신 두 사건은 법원에서 판결이 난 부분이고 이번 신문회와는 무관합니다.
Yeah. The court has given its verdict on the two cases you're referring to, and even so, these cases have no relation to the current inquiry.
백 변호사님이 명예에 집착한다는 게 과거 경력에서 보이는데 어떻게 무관하다는 거죠?
Past cases bring your penchant for padding your reputation to light. How can you call them unrelated? I love that he's like padding your reputation. He's like, I love that he's like doing your job is the same as padding your... Like, what? This guy is nuts. I mean, I know that he's not... I know that he's like... I mean, because I've been following the Baldoni and Lively like legal battle and actually been paying attention to court cases that aren't just in dramas, like real life ones. I know people like this exist, but it is still infuriating, right? He has a generic lawyer look from the weekly things. He does. He's the generic weekly lawyer. This is the 99% win rate generic lawyer. You show him some respect. Slamming his folder into the glass table. Wow, so dramatic. Jung places his hands onto the edge of the table for support and leans unnecessarily forward, crossing even the center line of the table. I love this description. To lawyers with experience in reading body language, this is an intentional move that disrespects one's personal space during interaction, one that aims to evoke fear and discomfort in the other party.
상황이 명확하네요.
I can see the situation clearly. Confident that things will turn out his way, Jung speaks in a definitive tone of to convict Artem of his wrongdoings. Now,
백은우 씨,
no,
당신은
ew.
인기를 얻고 인권 변호사라는 이미지를 만들기 위해서 불법 대출 서비스를 이용한 사람들을 악의적으로 도왔습니다.
Mr. Artem Wing, you have portrayed yourself as a civil rights attorney to help users with penalties and breach contracts seeking compensation from peer-to-peer lending platforms. But this is turned out to be a sham to pad your reputation. What? This guy is crazy. This guy is crazy. He's like, yeah, you've been doing all of this great work, but all of this work was just to pad your reputation. And I'm like, what? But he still did the thing. I'm pretty sure Vince at Artem.
백유천 재판장은 그런 당신에게 편의를 제공하기 위해 권한을 사적으로 남용해 기업의 합법적인 권리를 훼손했습니다.
Oh my god. On top of that, Chief Justice Brian Wing made use of his standing in the legal scene to fast-track your career, jeopardizing the legal rights of businesses in doing so. He did the work, it's not a sham, right? Right? It's crazy. Oh, nuts. Threats, coercion, and false accusations. He plays every card that Artem and Rosa had predicted. Despite the practice and mental preparation, she nevertheless finds herself smothered by the stressful situation before her. Artem's downcast eyes are trained on the table, as though whatever is reflected in the glass surface deserves his attention more than the fabricated allegations against him. He lightly raps his knuckles on the table. Vin wouldn't hire a guy like this. He's not even hot enough to be a good.
장 변호사님, 배지가 더러워졌네요.
Oh! Oh! Wow. He calls him like by his title as well. So he is a lawyer. He is a lawyer. This Mr. Jung. Your badge is tarnished. Ain't no way my dad helped my career. He wouldn't even help me play basketball. Dude, oh my gosh. Back. The scene where he's waiting at the award ceremony. It wasn't graduation. It was an award ceremony. It was so sad, Beck. I got so choked up. He just kept waiting even long after the other guests were like leaving. Like just hoping that his dad would just walk through the door. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. You're already feeling the angst. It was so angsty. It was so angsty. Oh. Yeah, I can't wait for you to like see that. I can't wait for you to see that. It was heartbreaking. On hearing that, Jung instinctively looks down at his badge. The metallic coating has flaked off, resulting in traces of oxidation on the silver ornament. Where it is worn, the badge's tarnished bramble branches now appear more like black thorns on his chest. A moment's distraction is all it takes for the tables to turn. Artem's voice then fills the room. Oh! It's time to counterattack.
말씀하신 대로 제가 대법관의 힘을 빌려서 든든한 뒷배를 공개적으로 내세웠다고 치죠.
Yeah. And it's immediately contradicted, right? So I know what he's going to say next, I think I do, right? The ridiculous symbol. I was mentioning earlier that this the writing does tend to have a lot of imagery, like use a lot of imagery in order to highlight its points in here. But I personally like it. Like they did it with a plant earlier. They did it with a street lamp earlier. They're doing it with this thing. They also did it with like water lilies. Personally, I'm a fan because it shows the writers really like have fun crafting like visual imagery that they can't necessarily portray for us. Even though this is a visual novel game, but they can only show so much, right? So I kind of enjoy they still have that element that is just common to the novel part of this visual novel, right? According to you, I use the Chief Justice's authority to my advantage, making it known to the public that I have the most influential person in the legal sector backing me up. Yes, but then this is a contradiction because earlier he said that, like, oh, you must be hiding something. That's why you don't let people know who your family is, right?
제가 그 큰 일을 벌인 목적이 고작 인기 하나 얻자고 그랬다는 말씀이신 거죠?
You can't play Themis now? Oh no, I'm so sorry. Wait, is Love in Deep Space on your work phone? And I would go to such great lengths just to earn that bit of fame? Artem raises his chin slightly, revealing the blatant look of annoyance in his eyes.
인기라면 앞에 있는 분들이 주신 것만으로도 충분하지 않을까요?
Can popularity or fame compared to this tangled web of yours, how much this tangled web of yours is bringing me?
기어코 제 입으로 말해야겠습니까? 더 큰 이익을 노린 거라고?
Do I really have to spell it out for you? Clearly, there's more that you stand to gain. Jung is unusually eager and spirited, like someone who believes that victory is theirs. That is also key to turning the tide unnoticed. Oh, they're setting him up for a trap then. Okay, I was wrong about what he was gonna say. You gotta get a new phone. Ooh, have you been thinking about it? Do you know what type of phone you want to get?
새로운 법안을 추진하면 정치권에서 당신 아버지의 실적이 될 뿐만 아니라 실질적인 이익도 가져다 줄 테니까요.
Passing a new statutory interpretation does more than add to your father's legal achievements. It will also bring some very practical gains.
해당 규정으로 이득을 본 사람들은 서로 나누려 하겠죠. 그렇기 때문에 두 부자가 그 이익 집단의 꼭두각실 가능성도 배제할 순 없습니다.
Simply because those who stand to gain from the statute to be more than willing to share their profound wealth. Oh, sorry, newfound wealth. Of course, you could very well be pawns of these advocacy organizations from the start. Every accusation is an admission, right? Because isn't Jung involved with the moneylenders? Profound trauma, yeah. A new iPhone with more storage for games. Okay.
쉽게 말해서 뇌물을 받았다고 말씀하고 싶으신 거군요.
So, to say it simply, you mean bribery.
그렇죠.
That's right. Artem scoffs offhandedly.
뭐 동기는 성립될 수 있겠네요.
The motive is valid.
처음부터 몇몇 온라인 대부업체를 피해자라고 가정했는데 그 주장의 근거는 뭐죠?
Then you believe the peer-to-peer lending companies to be the victims all along. What did you base your assumption on?
제 정보망을 통해서 확인한 내용입니다.
I have my own forms of verification.
대대적으로 홍보했던 건강 보조식품 회사만큼 서로 잘 아는 사이라서 그런가요?
Because you know about as much about them as the healthcare company you aggressively promoted back then, am I right? Panic flashes across Jung's eyes the moment he hears healthcare company. Oh no. Jung, source, trust me, bro.
건강 보조식품 회사라뇨? 오늘 신문에 무슨 상관이죠?
What healthcare company? What does that have to do with today's inquiry? Oh, I'm so ready for this.
지금 조사받는 건 제가 아니라 두 분입니다. 쓸데없는 말로 방해하지 마세요.
The ones under investigation aren't me, but you. Quit trying to change the topic to mislead me or disrupt the inquiry. With a languid flick of his fingers, Artem fishes through the papers on the table before sliding 10 odd copies of scribbled charges over to the person opposite him.
방해하지 않겠습니다만
I won't disrupt the inquiry,
그런 말 할 자격은 없는 것 같군요.
but what I'm trying to say is you're not fit to lead it.
이 자료는 장 변호사님께서 협회에 제출해 주셨으면 합니다.
Languid is a good word. I like that word. Here's a set of data we compiled. Can you please pass it to the association, Mr. Jung? Artem slouches back in his seat, stretching out a single hand to slide a mobile hard drive over to Jung. I love when Artem gets into this particular mode, right? When he's lawyer Artem, it's so attractive. Especially when he's taking the upper hand, you know? Jung reflexively takes a small step backward.
이게 뭐죠?
What is that?
지금 당신이 가장 두려워하는 거랄까요?
It's the thing that you're most afraid of being revealed. Mr. Jung, we found evidence to testify that you are guilty of using your position as a legal representative to accept bribes from others. He's doing Marius's casual threatening mode, and I like it too. Yeah, it's so when Marius is in that mode, I also enjoy it. Yeah, it's just very, very attractive when they become like very composed but assertive and threatening, vaguely threatening, you know?
대체 무슨 증거로 그런 말도 안 되는
What kind of evidence? You can't be. Although the tables have turned in that instant, the one who gets the last laugh is not thrilled in the slightest. There is only weariness and irritation on his countenance. I love that too. I love that Artem is also just like, he's not gleeful over this. He's just irritated. He's just annoyed because this guy had to push him to this point, you know? It's vids I download from your OnlyFans. Only feet. Unwilling to spare his defeated opponent so much as a glance, Artem's gaze lingers over the frosted glass in the waiting room instead, a screen that bears a faded image of the brambled scales. Oh. I had to learn what an OnlyFans is from Marius earlier today. Very troublesome. I love that Beck writes his own side fanfiction to this. Love it. Before the inquiry, Rosa and Artem got their hands on the bank transactions of a group of illegal peer-to-peer lending companies, and so they dove right into their investigation. They went through the list to narrow it down to the companies that Jung had interactions with. Then, they went through it again to flag out unusual transactions to hopefully zero in on some useful clues. Luck is on their side, for Rosa and Artem ended up finding a chain of heavily nested shadow bank accounts, unfortunately without Jung's bank account details. There's no way for them to link the suspicious bank activity to them, much less ascertain his involvement. They have hit a roadblock in their plan. The neatly organized files before them seem to make up some kind of interconnected web, a web that traps all beneath the night sky.
낙담할 거 없어요. 온라인 대부업체는 원래 장부를 꼼꼼히 처리하거든요.
No need to get too down about it. Peer-to-peer lenders tend to keep very detailed records of their accounts.
내가 장위성에 대한 정보도 없어서 역추적하는 데 시간이 좀 걸릴 거예요.
Not having his information means we can only resort to a retrograde investigation, and that will take time. But it's almost time for the inquiry. Time is just the thing we don't have. Rosa splays across the table, resting her chin on her hands before spacing out. I love that she just like falls on the table. She's so dramatic. Sometimes. You're like the most annoying person to take to a museum because you come up with stories for everything. How autistic of you. No, that's really fun though. I think that you would be like a really fun person to go to a museum with. Say, do you think we're going in the wrong direction? If our goal is to find evidence of Jung engaging in illegal financial dealings, we can always look into other companies. Peer-to-peer lenders may be meticulous with their record keeping, but other companies may not share the same habit.
일리 있네요.
That's true.
장위성 같이 탐욕스러운 사람이 한 곳이랑만 거래하진 않았을 거예요.
He's not one who plays by the rules. He probably has multiple mutually beneficial arrangements with other companies. Very much beatism. When Rosa and Artem pore over Jung's resume once more, they discover that he had previously helped out in the marketing campaign of a healthcare business. Jung marketed his healthcare company in the exact same way he did for peer-to-peer lenders.
이 업체 어디서 봤는데.
I've seen this company somewhere before.
작년에 채무 분쟁으로 소송 걸렸던 곳이에요. 지민 선배가 처리했었고요.
They had charges pressed against them for a debt dispute last year. Celestine went up against them in court. Though Celestine might have accessed their transaction records back then?
지금 연락해 볼게요.
I'll contact her now. Okay, why is that autistic? I don't know, it just feels autistic. I think it has to do with the going deep into like looking at something and then going way too far with it, like going too deeply into something and then making all of these like connections and to other things and drawing out like details or stories that that one wouldn't like necessarily like think of, right? So something like that. But I feel like it's more like a vibe thing. Um, but either way, I think that would actually be really fun with. I think it would be really fun with. That sentence didn't make sense. I think that would be really fun to go with you to a museum because then everything would become that much more entertaining. I tend to when I go to a museum, I tend to read everything and then I start to like think about like what it could mean and I start to imagine what things were like and then I start to imagine like, who could have used this and whatever. But I do tend to keep it to myself. I don't really say it out loud. So I think I would be really boring because I would just walk off alone. It's just like making puns. It's fun. Yeah, making puns is fun. Several hours later, Artem receives some data and a number of files on his computer. Among those records, multiple transactions point them toward a particular shadow bank account. The same shadow bank account also appears in the transaction records of more than one peer-to-peer lender. All of these seemingly unrelated companies only have one thing in common, dealing with Zheng. If the events had to be placed on a timeline, Zheng likely became the spokesperson for those peer-to-peer lenders shortly after the healthcare company found themselves in debt. I can't believe this guy, opening account after account even before settling the previous one.
아마 이전에 부족한 자금을 메우려고 새로운 꼭두각시가 된 걸 거예요.
Oh, perhaps that's how he settles out he sorts out his finances. He creates a new dummy bank account to fill the financial deficit in the last account. Okay. You'd love to check out a Korean history museum with me? Oh, yay. Just don't take it easy. Yeah, if you come to Korea, we should definitely go to, there's a free museum that you can go to near Gwanghwamun Palace. It's a history museum and it's got a lot of great displays. And I love going through them and like, looking at I haven't done it like since my coworker's like last birthday, but I liked walking through. When I was in Jeju, I went to the Haenyeo, the Sea Women's Museum, and that was really cool. I like looking at like historical museums more than I like art museums myself because history museums, I feel like there's something grounded to it. And I can search for information and I will tend to start looking like more into things like via my phone as well if there's something I'm really curious about. But I think like art museums, art is I think a reflection of the person. So I prefer to look at art like not via like a museum, but learning about the artist when I'm doing that. And maybe that's what grounds it for me, right? Trying to see what their life was like that led to them doing this or creating this. You recognize art stuff Marius brought up, otherwise you just trash talk all of them. When you went to Van Gogh's museum, isn't he the guy who cut off his own ear before he died? He did. He is, yeah. History museums in different, yeah. And I think like I turn like that type of art stuff into history because I prefer artists who have had an impact on history or who've had very interesting lives. And then it just becomes like a deep look into the biography of the artist. History museums in different parts of the world are always so interesting because of the different perspective. Yes, if you've been to, especially like if you've been to like you really get a sense of that if you're American and then you go to the Vietnam War Museum in Vietnam. And you compare it to how like you've been taught about the Vietnam War in America. Like you really, really feel the difference. I enjoy niche museums, like museums that focus on general history museums are fun, but I do like museums, and I think it's because they're so focused, you learn a lot or you can see a lot about a particular thing. So in Singapore, you've been to Singapore, right? I don't know if you've been to is it the Hokkien Museum? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't remember exactly, but it's a museum that focuses on a particular, I think, history of a neighborhood or of a people. And I felt like that was really, really, it's small, but it's so interesting because because it focuses on just this group of people or this particular time or this neighborhood, and you learn like a ton of information about that one particular thing. That was what Jeju was like with the Sea Women Museum too. Today you found an old medical educational book from 1962 and you made your friend stay and check it out with you for almost 2 hours. It was so fascinating. Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's super autistic, but that's great. No, dude, I want to like to see that. That sounds really interesting actually. Yeah, you only had 2 days in Singapore. You didn't have much time to check out museums. You spent it on food and zoo aquarium. Oh, but you know what? The zoo and aquarium can also be really fun. I went to a zoo in like a San Diego, the San Diego Zoo. I think it's the big one, the really really big one. And I learned so much there. It's almost like a museum for animals, you know. So I don't like aquariums though. I've been to aquariums and they're not my favorite place to hang out, but I think it's a smell issue. I really can't stand the smell of aquariums. Which is funny because I like fish. But I guess I just like eating fish. I don't like walking around and looking at them. Yes, the San Diego Zoo has a safari. Yeah, I went on the safari. It was really cool. Yeah, I hope you can make it there one day. It's really awesome. The documents you provided are more than sufficient to begin an investigation on Jung. With this breakthrough, it wouldn't be long before you find more evidence to prove the illegal financial dealings between him and the peer-to-peer lenders. Staff members from the Lawyers Association soon come by to pick up their evidence submission and at the same time bring this spiteful Jung in for investigation.
아버지의 힘을 빌린 적 없다고 당당하게 말할 수 있으신가요?
Can you really say you've never once used your father's influence? Artem pauses in the midst of handing over the collated evidence to the facilitating staff.
아니요.
No.
잘난 척하더니 그럴 줄 알았어.
Wow, he says, huh, and you act like you're better than us. I knew it. Seeing how this might be his final chance, Jung lashes out at Artem in a savage, almost maniacal manner, no different from that of a caged beast. Artem's next words, however, dash every last remnant of his delusion.
당신 같은 사람을 마주해도 실망했다고 딱히 불쾌하거나 하진 않네요.
Even when faced with someone like you, no amount of setback can push me to act out of spite.
당신이 가리키는 게 이런 거라면 그쪽이 상상하는 것보다 더 많은 도움을 받았을 겁니다.
If this is what you're referring to, then no, I can't, and in many more aspects than you can imagine.
그리고
And, turning his attention away from the maniacal beast, Artem directs his earnest gaze at
제
Rosa.
파트너는 유능한 변호사입니다.
My partner is an outstanding attorney. So random. Okay, I think they could have made it a bit more obvious, but yeah, I guess what he's saying is I guess what he's saying was one way my father has influenced me is to not be a spiteful person, even in the face of an asshole like you. And this is just cute. Rosa blinks in confusion. Something flashes in her mind, and she realizes that statement is a correction to what Jung said earlier when she was reduced to being just Artem's fiancé outside of work partners. Self-doubt and indignance that manifested from the malicious and inciting remarks she had to put up with in the last couple of days, and possibly from more criticism to come, all of those feelings seemed to quell this very instant. Following Jung's removal for investigation, the inquiry is adjourned to the next day. My father doesn't even follow me on Facebook. The very Asian sentiment of going into a museum, pointing at everything and going, "Can I eat it?" Oh no, you're right. Oh no, you're right. You're right. Oh god. Oh, you're totally right. Is it food? Or did it help you? Does it help you eat? Or does it like... Oh man, that is super Asian. Artem said it's not problematic to kiss his subordinate if he marries her. Oh god. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Yeah, I guess I don't like aquariums because I can't eat the fish. The association sends a new officer to chair the inquiry. They also learned that Jung is now under investigation and that all relevant evidence has been passed on to the police.
제보건에 대해선 두 분께서 해명해 주셨으면 합니다.
I hope to hear both of your perspectives on the whistleblower report.
조사 절차가 공정하게 이루어질 수 있도록 노력할 테니 두 분께서도 협회를 다시 한번 믿어주세요.
I will ensure justice and fairness throughout the proceedings, so I hope that you will trust the Lawyers Association once more.
당연히 그래야죠.
Of course. After taking a brief moment to organize their thoughts, both Rosa and Artem respond in
온라인
succession.
대부업체가 제시한 계약 자체에 문제가 있습니다. 새로운 규정이 시행되지 않더라도 불법 대출에 해당되는 부분이고요.
Even without the new statute, the contracts that these peer-to-peer lending companies offer are inherently questionable. They can in fact be considered unlicensed moneylenders.
제가 법률 지원에 나선 동기는 간단합니다. 도움을 주기 위해서죠.
I'm only providing legal aid. I just want to help. Bemis always had the practice of taking on legal aid cases, and Mr. Wing makes it a point to help out with them every year. I cannot see any reason for him to do so just to gain fame. Fish are friends, not food. Not to me. Listen, the Vietnamese are people of the mountains and people of the sea, okay? People specifically of the rivers. So, no, we are eating those fish. Artem said it's not problematic to kiss his subordinate if he marries her. God, when I've gone to the aquarium with my parents before, they would be like, imagine eating that to all the huge ocean fish. You know, I could totally, like, I don't think my dad and I have ever done that, but I think my dad would definitely say something like that. The inquiry soon comes to an end. Through their observation of the inquiry officer, she appears to be receptive, paying close attention to what is being said. Rose immensely lets out a sigh of relief. It is only when Artem answers the inquiry officer's final question that she collects her papers and rises from her seat.
상황은 대충 이해했고 몇 가지는 가서 확인해봐야 할 것 같네요.
We have an understanding of the case now, but there are still several details we need to look into.
오래 걸리진 않을 테니까 두 분 다 잠시 앉아 계세요.
It won't take long. Please wait a moment. Okay. If anyone should get investigated for workplace fraternization, it should be Vin with his GeoVin Institute. Everyone definitely thinks that Vin sucked off Mars' brother to get that clinic funded, right? Oh, for sure. Like 100%. And he actually benefits to get something from that, right? He actually benefits to get, what's it called? Like, yeah, to get like money and have the institute, especially since he doesn't have actual degrees. Oh man. Oh, why hasn't Artem investigated Vin yet? He's directly making money. Yeah. Okay. Rosa and Artem exit the waiting room and head to the lobby's lounge to wait instead. Taking a seat on one end of the couch, they find themselves bathed in the warm and pleasant sunlight. The tensions that Rosa has been carrying lately begins to melt away. Her curious glances around the lobby attract Artem's attention, who turns to her with a quizzical look.
뭘 그렇게 봐요?
What are you looking for? Artem, is this where you had your award ceremony?
시상식은 안에서였어요.
The ceremony was inside.
근데
But Artem looks around the place and memories from his past come rushing back to him. No! Don't take me back. It was too sad.
여기서 오래 기다렸죠.
I waited here for a very long time. Oh, it was just one line and I'm so sad. For uncle?
네.
Yes.
그리고 답도 기다렸었네요.
And for an answer. Holding onto his arm, she bats her eyelashes several times at Artem, unabashedly making her curiosity known to him. Oh, that's cute. I love that Rosa is doing the cute batting eyelashes thing at Artem. Whereas Nemo-senpai ate him, I did. Deep down, she knows Artem will satisfy her curiosity. He does not take well to letting people down after all. Artem clears his throat, awkwardly averting his gaze.
중요한 것도 아니었는데
It's not important.
지금 생각해 보니까
Now that I think about it,
좀 유치한 질문이었어요.
it was a really childish question.
그때 교수님이 말하라고 계속 격려해주지 않으셨으면 아마 난
If it wasn't for my mentor's relentless badgering back then, perhaps I...
여보세요? 아버지, 저요.
Hello? Father, it's me. Don't hang up. Sorry. Oh god. Listen, if they didn't want to eat the fish, why did they bother catching them and raising them every average Asian? Oh god. The call picks up on the other end, and Artem briefly tells his father about the invitation from the association. He pauses for a short while before going into the question.
그날 시상식 때 보러 오실 수 있으세요? 연설을 하게 될 것 같아서요.
Baby Artem is blushing. Oh. Do you think you'll be able to attend the ceremony that day? I might be giving a speech.
4월 26일이요.
April 26th.
네. 수도 변호사 협회에서요.
Yes, at the Lawyers Association in the capital.
너무 바쁘시면 안 오셔도 괜찮아요.
But if you're too
그게
busy, you don't have to
중요한 건
come.
아니라서.
It's really not that important. Oh no, guys! Guys! Look how he immediately follows it up with like, it's okay if you're busy. Ah! Oh, this is too relatable. Yeah, it was his birthday. Oh, this is too relatable. Artem's dad. Sorry, kid, I had you muted. What you say? Oh, God.
너무 바쁘시면 안 오셔도 괜찮아요. 크게 중요한 건 아니라서.
Stop!
참, 뭐가 안 중요하다는 거야? 네 생일인데.
How is it not important? It's your birthday. Feeling a rough tug on his sleeves, the person standing next to him, his mentor, pointedly raises his eyebrows at Artem, impatiently hinting at something. Artem hurriedly places a hand over the receiver, hoping to muffle out his mentor's objection. His father says something on the other end, and Artem's eyes light up in response.
네. 그럼 들어가세요.
Okay. Then, goodbye.
뭐라고 하셔? 시간 괜찮으시대?
How'd it go? Is it okay? You gave Beck the shrimp you got the other day. Oh. Shrimp is good. Immediately after he ends the call, his mentor excitedly asks about the outcome and receives a nod from Artem. His mentor is clearly more thrilled by the news than Artem should be.
저번에 나한테 했던 질문을 아버지한테도 물어봐.
And you can ask your father that question that you asked me.
인생에 대한 궁금증을 풀어주는 건 네 아버지 책임이니까.
It's your... It's his responsibility to answer the questions that you have while growing up. Guys, this is so sad. Also, how old was Artem at this point?
네. 그럴게요.
Alright, I will.
그래. 그럼 난 학교로 가볼게.
Alright, then I'll head back to the school. Neil Hume retrieves his coat and is about to leave when he suddenly turns around as though he randomly thought of something.
그리고 자꾸 네 일을 별거 아니라는 것처럼 말하지 마.
Oh, and stop. He says, in Korean, he says, and stop always saying that the things related to you aren't important. You guys. Ah! This story is so good. It's given us so much. Oh my god. He's such a good mentor. I know. Oh man, and I hope he's not dead. Artem is already lost in thought about the things he has to prepare. Travel arrangements, his leave application, a suit, and a draft for his speech when he hears his mentor's advice. He looks up and breezily promises to take it to heart.
네. 그럴게요.
Alright, I'll do that. I like Neil. I hope he's not too messed up. I know, right? Oh my god. Neil is actually a pretty good, yeah, he's a pretty good, mentor slash father figure to Artem. What did you want to ask Uncle? Rather than the anticipation, disappointment, and regret in the emotionally charged second half of his recount. Yes! So much emotionally chargedness. I don't know. Rosa is more interested in what is about to come. A young Artem, feeling perplexed and apprehensive about something. What sort of question could it be? Picking up on the burning curiosity in her eyes, Artem purses his lips.
그땐 물어보고 싶었어요.
Back then, I wanted to ask,
내가 아버지께서 기대한 모습으로 자랐는지를요.
did I live up to his expectations? Guys! I am ruined. I am wrecked. Oh, this card. Why? Famous! Artem's writing team is too good. Whoever's writing the stuff for Artem is aware of every Asian child's, like, anxiety. Yeah. Oh my god. I felt that. See? Even Kathy, who's half paying attention, feels that. Man.
다들 부모님한테 한 번쯤은 물어봤을 거예요.
I guess it's a common question people have for their parents. Artem hesitates for a moment before continuing, as though he's finally come to a rigorously derived conclusion, almost like a deep introspection into himself.
정확히 말하자면
To say it exactly,
그날은 내가 직접 준비한 날 증명하는 자리였어요.
that was where I wanted to show him the person that I had prepared myself to be. Something like
봄에
that.
자라는 나무처럼 추운 겨울과 가장 혹독한 시련을 겪고 싶었던 것
I
같아요.
think I translated that very badly because I think my words stopped making sense. Sorry, let me retranslate. He said, I wanted to show him the proof of who I had directly, like on my own, like grown up to be for him. Ah! Pain. So much pain. This was Artem's shower thoughts for years, wasn't it? Oh, for sure. Dude. Just like how springtime trees eagerly hope to transition into winter to experience the harshest of trials.
그래야 내가 어른이 됐다는 걸 증명할 수 있을 거라고 생각했거든요.
Yes, I think that was how I thought that was the only way to show I'd become an adult.
부모님이 자랑스러워할 만한, 적어도 실망하시지 않을 만큼요.
It's so much sadder in Korean, guys. An adult that my parents could be proud of, or at least one that they wouldn't be disappointed in. But as time goes by, the preparation that was once his basis of confidence gives way to the cracks of self-doubt. Sun rays scatter through the stained glass window, casting brilliant streams of light into the lobby. A lobby now distinct from the one in his memory.
뒷이야기는 알고 있는 대로예요.
What is OCG?
별로 중요한 건 없어요.
Hot damn, right? And you know the rest that happens after that. It's nothing too much to speak of, really. Ouch. Oh, yes. Very ouch. No, it's important. You're important, Artem. Things related to you are important. Ah! You matter, Artem. God. I know that we like joke about how like the others have like a lot more trauma than Artem, but Artem's trauma I think is so relatable because it's so ordinary. Because it hinges on neglectful parents who really care about you, but they just weren't always around, right? That it still hits so hard. So even though like Artem's story is like relatively normal compared to, you know, the others, it's so, I feel like they know how to write it, so it's so impactful because they know that it can touch everybody who has experienced this, and a lot of people have. This is worse than when his mom told him he'd never be loved if he wore glasses. Yeah, oh my god. He's every one of us who just wants to like live up to our parents' expectations, you know? Oh, man. Rosa squeezes his hand, urging him to meet her gaze. And he's every one of us who wanted to be shown that they were important, that they mattered more than the work, you know? Probably because it's a more normal trauma. The team has more experience with writing it well. I know that's true too. I think I think some of them probably also have experienced it. Oh. Got you on the feet. Yeah. Oh man. When this inquiry is over, let's go pay Uncle a visit, and have him answer that long-awaited question.
철없이 보일 거예요. 그래도
That's going to seem so immature, but
그럴게요.
let's do it. Yes! Ah! We're feeding Artem's inner child. We're finally resolving Artem's inner child issues. Shadows by the window elongate, and the stand-in inquiry officer reemerges at long last, informing them that they are free to leave.
추후 협조가 필요한 내용이 아직 남았는데 나중에 다시 연락드리겠습니다.
We're still going to need your help for a few procedures in the next few days. You'll be hearing from us,
그러시죠.
or we'll contact you. Please do so. Relief washes over her upon hearing the outcome. The inquiry may not be over just yet, but they cleared this hurdle for now. Rosa picks up her purse, and they are about to leave the building with Artem when the inquiry officer turns back towards her, seemingly remembering something.
백 변호사님, 아버님은 제가 존경하는 선배 법조인이세요. 물론 선배님의 관점에 다 동의하는 건 아니지만 항상 진심으로 존경하고 있어요.
Mr. Wing, your father is someone that I respect very much. That's not to say that I agree with everything that he does, but I do sincerely respect him.
그럼요. 관점은 다를 수 있습니다. 진정한 대가를 치러야 하는 건 악의적으로 남의 명성을 더럽히는 사람들이죠.
That's right. People are bound to have different views. Those behind the smear campaign are the ones who ought to pay. After several days of furnishing information to the association and assisting in rounds of investigation, the inquiry proceeding finally comes to an end. The association's investigation clears Artem of any breach of conduct, finding the report to be falsely fabricated. Judging from the progress of the draft law, things seem to be resolved on Brian's end too. It's about time the storm quelled. Okay. We're back. We're back in the study. On the second to last day in the capital, Rosa makes plans with Artem to visit Brian before returning to Stellis. When she arrives, she learns about from his secretary that Brian has gone out to take care of something that cropped up at work, and that the meeting today will have to be cancelled. No! With how busy Uncle gets, it doesn't look like he's going to be around for Artem's birthday again this year. You're close to sleep too. Glad you stuck that part out. Yeah. But oh no. Thanks for bringing up my father issues, Hoyo. And Auntie has been out of town at a conference for a few days now. No one knows when she'll be back. As if he has long gotten used to the spontaneous changes in his father's busy schedule, Artem casually suggests somewhere else to spend the day.
이왕 나온 거 바람이라도 쐴래요?
Since we're already out, why don't we take a walk? Or why don't we get some air? Sorry. Sure, though I'm not familiar with this area. I know what's nice around here. Brian Rosa's gonna key your damn car. Right? Right? Dude, we all are. There's a small park nearby that offers some pretty views. Let's go to that park then. Maybe he's there. Maybe he's feeding the ducks. I don't know. Come on, Brian. Let Artem ask his question. How many years has it been? Rosa walks hand in hand with Artem along a tree-lined path in the lovely weather, strolling leisurely around the park. She now realizes what it is about this place that left an impression on Artem. Out of all the other sites in the capital, this is the Tranquil Park, a refuge within the city of skyscrapers. She's never felt this relaxed since arriving in the capital. What? What's wrong? The unmistakable silhouette of a vendor and their flower cart on the other side of the circular fountain appear in her vision. She recalls the promise she made a few nights ago at a certain street market. I'm going to keep my promise. I'll be right back. Oh, I'm glad someone's keeping their promise. We're all gonna key Brian Wing's car, right? Artem blinks in confusion, and she picks up on an unfamiliar hesitation in his otherwise gentle tone.
그럼 저쪽 벤치에서 기다릴까요?
Then should I wait for you at that bench? Got it. Oh my god. With a spring in her step, she makes her way to the flower cart, only to be dazzled by the variety of flowers on display. In this very moment, she wants to go beyond just keeping her promise. She hopes to fill all the wishes he has had in the past before his next birthday. She hopes to fix every instance of disappointment, especially the memory he has of that day. It should not be overshadowed by the bright colors in that room, nor drowned out in the chimes of the association's clock. Be it lofty goals, insignificant desires, or simple and mundane wishes, she hopes to fulfill every one of them for him, in the same way he has been regarding her with fervent affection and an open heart all this while. These will do. Please wrap them into a bouquet for me. Perhaps because she spent some time plucking out flowers, she realizes she now cannot wait to be back by Artem's side. She goes back to the same path she came from, slowing down her pace as the sun sets, all the while holding onto a small bouquet of flowers that has been secured with ribbon. Ah! I totally forgot that this picture or this scene was in the card. I see. I should have remembered from the bench. Artem is leaned back on the bench, his eyes closed. He seems to have fallen asleep, oblivious even to being bathed entirely in the warm glow of the setting sun. Not wanting the strong floral scent to startle him away, she hides the flowers behind her back before sneaking up to him, though she finds herself gingerly leaning in to watch him sleep. Artem's brow furrows, indicative of a less than peaceful dream. She cannot help but wonder what he's dreaming of. Putting on a tough front when he hasn't slept well for a number of days now. Pulling out a lily from the bouquet, she reaches across to pin the flower on the pocket of Artem's shirt, breaking the stillness of the scene. Oh, that's so cute! The setting sun casts a shadow of the lily on Artem's chest, one that resembles a badge between his two shirt buttons, squarely over where his heart is. No matter what the future holds, she drops her voice to a whisper to not disturb his sleep, though she also hopes for her words to find their way through the meshwork of negative thoughts to comfort him in his dreams. The kiss that stopped just inches away from her forehead comes to mind, and she realizes when she loves someone this deeply, every decision she has to make becomes laden with weight. Unfaltering support is found only between those with hearts aligned. I'll always be by your side.
좋아요.
Good. A response from the man she thought was asleep all along makes her jump, and she almost drops her bouquet of flowers. Weren't you sleeping? Artem still has his eyes closed and appears to be deep in slumber, though the corners of his lips are clearly upturned.
꿈이에요.
I'm dreaming. That's too cute! A warm breeze characteristic of late spring sweeps past, rustling the nearby foliage and tussling the wisp of hair hanging over Artem's forehead. Is it a dream where everything goes your way? Better not be a nightmare, though, or I'll wake you up right now.
둘 다 아니에요.
Neither. Another breeze sweeps through his parted bangs, as though even Mother Nature is bent on smoothing out the creases in his forehead. The arm that is exposed in the air flinches slightly, and Artem purses his
다
lips.
같이 승리를 축하하는 꿈을 꿨어요.
It was a dream in which I saw many people coming together.
비참한 승리라 그런지 이긴 쪽이 울고 있었어요.
Victory didn't come easy for them. Those who won broke down in tears. When Artem opens his eyes, he appears to be in a daze, sleep still heavy in his eyes. Not budging from his comfortable position on the bench, he tilts his head slightly to look at her.
우리도 얼마 전에 겨우 승리했어요.
We just won our own victory not too long
그
ago.
상대는 우리가 가장 잘 알고 있는 규칙과 절차.
Against the rules and
그리고
procedures that we know,
과거의 영광이었죠.
and perhaps even our past successes. His words convey none of the pride or elation that usually comes with winning, only the mental and physical exhaustion from seeing a brutal and protracted battle to its end. Consider it a drill for a future battle. Victory or loss, it will be an outcome I face with you, together. Artem squints just as the golden hour rolls around, bathing him in the soft and warm glow of the setting sun. Go on, take a nap. I'll wake you up before the next nightmare creeps in.
네.
All right. Surrounding wind still, and both their shadows grow longer as the sun dips below the horizon. As it turns out, she spent a leisurely day nuzzled up against Artem on a park bench, catching up on a long nap before walking home hand in hand. Upon returning from the capital, both Rosa and Artem find themselves buried in a mountain of work that accumulated while they were away. They enter the weekend soon after clearing the more pressing tasks. Her plan for the weekend is just to lounge at home, unwinding from work over a book or a movie, with Artem, of course. Artem stands before his bookcase, browsing for a few minutes before turning around to address her.
그 황혼에서 출발한 쇠빙선 봤어요?
Have you seen the Icebreaker Departing at Dusk book? Yeah, it's on the second shelf. I'll get it for you. Just as she picks out the book, she hears both the doorbell and Artem's phone ringing at the same time. Artem looks at his phone, and Rosa, in turn, glances towards the door. Could be a delivery. I'll get the door. Go ahead and take your call. Absent-mindedly placing the book back on the topmost shelf, she jogs towards the door. The coffee mugs that she recently bought couldn't have arrived at a better time. Once she's done rinsing them, she brings the mugs over to Artem, only to find him spacing out at his phone. Who was it? Oh!
아버지요.
My father? Oh my god. He called! Rosa can hear some hesitation in his voice as he receives his mug.
내일 돌아오시는데 우리 보러 오시겠대요.
He'll be coming back tomorrow. And he said he'll come to visit us. Oh, at our apartment? Should we start tidying the place? Artem sets his mug down before using his free hand to envelop hers.
긴장할 거 없어요.
You don't need to worry.
일정 때문에 잠깐 앉았다가 바로 가실 거예요.
He's on a tight schedule, so he'll be leaving right away. That may be true, but I can't help feeling. Artem smiles wryly, tucking a loose lock of hair behind her ear.
솔직히 말해서 나도 좀 긴장돼요.
To tell you the truth, I'm a little nervous too.
지난번 일 때문에 이번에 뵈면 사과부터 드려야 할지 아니면 인사부터 드려야 할지 잘 모르겠어요.
After what happened last week, I don't know if I should apologize or if I should check in on him. Rosa knows that was Artem trying to make her feel better, but she fails to hold in her laughter all the same. Along with the laugh that escapes her lips, the tension that she's been holding in also dissipates. This is her chance to finally help Artem relay the question that he didn't get to ask before. Oh my god, he is gonna get to ask! The following day, Brian arrives in Stellis and visits the two of them at the new apartment. The scent of coffee wafts through the study as Artem sets his mug down on the desk, walking toward Brian, who is still perusing the bookcase. Brian stands before the bookcase, his gaze sweeping across the titles of neatly arranged books on each shelf. He then smiles and points out one of the reference books on comparative law.
이 책은 개정판이 나왔으니 오래된 건 안 보는 게 좋아.
They've published a revised edition of this book. Don't look at this one, and it'd be better to refer to the new one.
새 건 내가 챙겨왔어.
I brought you the new copy today. Oh, all right. A thought pops into her head as she looks at the two men before her. Oh, how thoughtful. This must be Uncle's birthday present to Artem, isn't it? Brian gives a slight nod, acknowledging her guess in a way. A sheepish smile forms on Artem's face.
감사합니다.
Thank you. Awkward. Spotting a book sticking out from the topmost shelf, Artem reaches out to shove it back into place. This move, however, pushes the book, which was already on the verge of falling off, into a more precarious position. He pauses for a moment but decides to leave the book where it is, turning around to face his father.
아버지 쪽 문제는 다 해결됐어요? 죄송해요. 그날 제가
Did everything end up being resolved on your side? I'm sorry for what happened that day.
사과할 것 없어.
You have nothing to apologize for.
앞으로 누굴 지키겠다고 성급하게 네가 가진 패를 전부 꺼내선 안 돼.
But you can't rush forward into showing your hand just to protect others.
네가 성급하게 달려들수록
The more reckless you
쓸수
are,
있는 패만 늘어나는 거야.
the more leverage your opponent has on you. Artem does not answer right away, cleverly putting out a condition of his own before agreeing to take his father's advice.
저도 한 가지 부탁드리고 싶은 게 있어요.
I also have a request.
다음에 또 위험한 일이 생기면 저희한테 꼭 알려주세요.
If you find yourself in danger again, please let us know.
그래.
Starting to fall asleep? Okay, if you need to rest, you can definitely go to sleep. Good night. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for unpacking your daddy issues with the rest of us and Artem. All right. Long threatening to tip over, the book Icebreaker Departing at Dusk chooses to topple off the shelf this very instant, landing with an audible thud that resounds in the momentary silence. Artem bends over to pick up the book, and a voice rings out from before him at the same time. Almost like a heartfelt rumination on the fateful turn of events, though uttered with a calm acceptance and none of the intense emotions.
법을 제정하는 건 짧은 싸움이야. 법안이 통과되면 기나긴 강에 먼지만 남더라도
The legislative process is a cause we dedicate every moment, even our lives to, so much so that if it means losing everything by the time a bill is passed,
먼지가 되거라.
then so be it. The novel that fell has been flipped open to its title page, revealing only a one-liner that the author quoted in their epigraph. I have fought every good fight out there, and I am already far along the path I should take.
하지만 법을 지키는 건 오랜 전쟁이다.
But upholding the law is a lifelong battle. Artem stands back up slowly, his gaze going past the impressive collection of books on the philosophy of law to land on his father standing just 1 foot away. The creation of laws, the nature of law, and the legal system are all easily within reach, yet tons of people continue to devote their lifetime to the pursuit of these theories.
네가 가려는 길은 나와 달라.
You and I are meant for different paths.
하지만 결정했다면 끝까지 해봐. 언젠간 날 상대하게 되더라도 말이야.
Never look back once you set your mind to it, even if it means going against me someday. Okay. But uncle. Ryan glances at each of them before continuing in a casual
왜
tone.
긴장하고 그래?
Why are you so stressed?
너희가
Or
선택한
worried?
미래는 상상했던 것보다 적이 많다는 걸 명심해.
You should know that you're bound to meet many more adversaries as you persevere down their path.
자, 그럼 난 이만 가봐야겠다. 책 바꾸는 거 잊지 말고.
Alright, I should go. Don't forget to replace that book. Huh? You're leaving already? She'd assumed Brian would stay around longer, especially when she hasn't gotten around to asking the question that's been weighing on Artem's heart. Her heart reaches before her mind and she takes a step forward. Let me walk you out. Artem, come on! You can do it! Averting Artem's inquiring eyes, she hurriedly racks her brain for a decent excuse. I read one of your papers in the past, and I've had quite some questions about it. I've always wanted to ask you about them.
그래.
Alright. As she walks Brian downstairs, she plays out 100 different ways to broach the subject in her head.
논문은 핑계고 따로 하고 싶은 말이 있는 거지?
My paper was just an excuse, right? You have something else you want to talk to me about. Yes, you're right. Her mental predicament from earlier disappears now that her motive is seen through. Leaving out Artem's feelings of anticipation and disappointment during the ceremony of the past, she comes straight to the point and asks what Artem wanted to know back then. Ryan falls silent for a long time, as though his memories have taken him back in time.
뭐라고 대답해야 할지 모르겠네.
I don't know how I should answer that question.
은우는 나름의 신념과 질서를 갖고 있어서 누구의 기대에도 맞출 필요가 없어.
He's found his own faith and order to live by. He doesn't need to live up to anyone's expectations.
내가 그 나이였을 땐 은우에 비하면 한참 부족했지.
And when I was his age, I was definitely far behind him. Perhaps it's the unnerving uncertainty that clouds her judgment when she was in the Capitol, but she realizes Brian is a lot more affable than the last time she met him.
하지만 신념은 쉽게 무너지기 마련이야.
But faith is fragile.
한 사람을 무너뜨리는 건 간단해. 스승이나 동료, 소중한 사람을 무너뜨리면 되는 거거든.
It doesn't take much to crush a person. All they need to do is target his mentor, his friends, or even the person he loves. That was very pointed.
그러면 어떻게 해야 할지 방향을 알고 있어도 선뜻 나아가지 못할 거야. 앞으로 펼쳐진 길마다 매번 갈림길에 서야 할 테니까.
And when that happens, he may not even be able to remember his goal, because none of the paths ahead of him will take him toward it. I will fight alongside him.
두 사람이 그럴 거라는 건 알아.
I know you two will.
하지만 제 아이가 오랫동안 고통과 두려움 속에서 살기를 바라는 부모는 세상에 없는 법이란다.
There's no parent that wants their child to toil through a life of fear and suffering.
버틸 수 있다는 걸 알면서도 그래.
Even if I know that he'll be able to endure it all, I wouldn't want that. A sigh of sorts escapes with his final words before transiting into a friendly reminder for her.
이 말은 은우한테 전할 필요는 없어.
You may want to skip the last bit when you go back to him. Oh, that was a nice theme. And it shows that the love that the parents have is very similar to the love that she has for him. Because earlier she was also saying that even if he knows, or even if she knows that he's ready and prepared to be attacked, accused, misunderstood, that doesn't mean he has to go through that. And that's the same for Brian. Yeah, I will. After watching the car that Brian got into drive off, she jogs home excitedly, eager to tell Artem about the conversation that just transpired. A familiar silhouette enters her vision right as she goes around the neighborhood park. The person who has been running around her mind for the past couple minutes appears in front of her. What are you doing out here? She spots Artem leaning against a hedge at the edge of the stone slab walkway, his gaze obscured by the thick foliage overhead. Artem tilts his head to the side, his eyes now visible from all that lush greenery.
위에 혼자 있기 싫어서 그냥 데리러 왔어요.
I was lonely at home, so I came to pick you up. A sweet happiness bubbles within her, and she skips towards him, joining him between the verdant hedges. Listen, I chatted a lot with Uncle. I need to tell you everything now before I forget. Not stopping to catch her breath, she recounts every single word of the earlier conversation with Brian. When she finally finishes the long recount, Artem has no reaction whatsoever. Too little, too late? Oh,
아니요.
no.
돌아보니까 기다리는 시간 동안 스스로한테 답을 줬더라고요.
I just realized that I gave myself the answer while waiting.
과거보다 눈앞의 현재를 더 소중히 여겨야 한다고.
More than the past, what's in front of me right now is more precious. What you have before you? It's quiet around them. Other than the warm springtime sun, they are the only two people here. Maybe there's also the birds perched atop the streetlights, the endlessly buzzing bugs, and the dense canopy of leaves, secretly listening in on the conversation.
수도에서 돌아온 뒤로 하고 싶은 말이 많았는데
There's a lot I wanted to say to you
어떻게
since we got back from the
이야기해야 할지
capital,
모르겠어요.
but I don't know where to begin. What is it?
아버지가 알려주지 않으셔도 맞서야 할 적이 상상 이상으로 많다는 건 알고 있어요.
I know we're going to be up against more people than we can imagine, even before my father reminded us.
세상은 백은후가 어떤 사람인지 신경 쓰지 않아요. 내 이미지를 만들어냈다가 또 허물어 버리죠.
The world doesn't care what Pekunu is like. They've constructed their own image of me, and they can easily destroy it too.
신분, 지위, 명예.
Identity, status,
외부에서
reputation.
주어지는 것들은 언제든지 잃을 수 있어요.
All of these things that have been given to me can be taken away at any time,
만약에
or can be lost at any time.
언젠가 나한테 아무것도 남지 않는다면
If one day I end up with nothing left behind, then that won't happen. She anxiously begins to interrupt him, but she also recalls what Brian said, that she hasn't seen the real threat yet. Dude, what is this foreshadowing? It doesn't take too much to crush a person. All they need to do is target his mentor, his friends, or even the person he loves. When that happens, he's as good as crippled, even if he still remembers his goal, because none of the paths ahead of him will take him toward it. Will things really turn out that way? The anxiety that courses through her overpowers even the permeating scent of flowers in the air, gripping her in a chokehold and crushing her weak denial before it can be uttered. A gust of wind rustles past her ear, pushing a branch between the two of them. Oh, this is pretty. I love the artwork in this game. This unexpected intrusion breaks her out of her thoughts, and she raises her hand to shield her face from the branch. At the exact same moment, Artem reaches out to push the branch further down, past his eyes. Amidst the fluttering petals, she finds herself looking into his eyes, the calmness in his eyes.
괜찮아요.
It's all right.
그렇게 되려면 되라죠.
Just leave it.
다만
The only thing is,
그때가 됐을 때
when that happens,
함께 나아가겠다는 소중한 약속에 내가 어떻게 보답할 수 있을지가 마음에 걸려요.
I'd have nothing to give you in return. Always staying by my side is too invaluable a promise. Artem tilts his head to the side, as though there really is a selection of gifts before him, leaving him spoiled for choice. After what seems like a deep contemplation, he brings his face towards her ear.
아무래도 앞에 있는 나뭇가지랑 덩굴을 빌려야겠네요.
It seems that these vines and branches may have just enlightened me.
앞으로 어떻게 되든 만물이 깨어날 때마다 새로운 삶이 찾아올 거예요.
Let's not think about what's going to happen. In the same way life cycles through the seasons, there will always be new beginnings. It is the end of spring. Vines and branches have grown long and resilient, along with flowers she cannot put a name to, every single one of them blooming vibrantly from their buds. Rosa hears Artem's voice right as the wind stills, making her heart skip a beat.
강남에는 마땅한 것이 없으니
Nothing in Jiangnan can convey my feelings right now. If nothing in Jiangnan can convey her feelings, then let the flowers around them become a symbol of them. Why Jiangnan?
강남에는 마땅한 것이 없으니
Flowers bloom far and wide whenever spring rolls around, so let that be a slight and reminder that they can perennially indulge in. She feels something tug at her heartstrings, and she reciprocates with her own feelings 1,001 times, but only in her head, for she cannot seem to find her tongue. The road ahead may be difficult from here on out. Loss and separation may be inevitable to reach their goal, or worse still, ruination is all there is at the end of the road. But so long as he's with her, she knows they will become each other's beacon for the way forward, regardless of having their hopes dashed or their goals destroyed. Before the remaining flower withers, she stands on tiptoes and kisses him on the lips. It is an invitation to dive into the river of love together, to stand steadfast by each other's side, a vow for a lifetime. Whether spring flashes by like lightning or winter with this biting chill, her promise endures, unshaken, eternal. The end. That was so good.
문자 방금 봤어요.
I just saw your text.
바쁜 건 끝났을 것 같아서 전화했어요.
I called since I knew you'd be done with work.
식은 끝났죠.
Yes, the ceremony's over.
로스쿨 우수 학생한테 상을 주는 게 특별할 건 없지만 감회가 조금은 새롭네요.
Presenting awards to students from the law faculty isn't anything special, but I do feel sentimental.
네. 시상식이 끝나고 몇몇 학생들이 찾아와서 이것저것 물어봤거든요.
Yes, a few students came up to me for advice when I was about to leave. They had a lot of questions,
다들 진심이었어요. 어떤 학생은
but they were all
이상과 현실의 차이 때문에
serious.
미래가 막막하게 느껴진다고 하더라고요.
One of them told me how they felt lost and uncertain about their future after realizing how far they are from achieving their ideals.
왠지 갑자기 당신 생각이 났어요.
I don't know why, but that made me think of you.
학교 다닐 때 비슷한 고민해 본 적 있어요?
Were you troubled by things like that back in school?
아니요. 인생의 조언이랄 건 없고
No, I don't want to offer you life
그때
advice. Or I don't have any life
당신
advice to offer you. I was just curious about what it would be like if we'd already met.
당신만의 청중이 됐겠죠.
I'd be someone you could confide in, right?
진짜 좋은 이야기 상대가 됐을 것 같아요.
Yes, I'd be your best confidant.
당신의 고민을 들어주고 옆에서 해결책을 찾아주면서 당신이 느끼는 감정에 공감하는 거예요.
Oh. I'd listen to you offload your worries while giving you encouragement and be the one who understands everything that you're feeling.
가끔은
Most.
어떻게 반응해야 할지 몰라서 같이 헤맬지도 몰라요.
There might be times when I would not have the appropriate encouragement or response.
다 내려놓고 같이 학교 잔디밭을 산책해도 좋겠네요.
Then we could just leave everything
새벽부터
behind
밤을 기다리면서
and go on a
새로운
walk.
하루를 기다리는 거예요.
We could spend all day like that and wait until night falls for a brand new day.
당신의 과거와 희로애락 그리고 그 모든 순간들을 알고 싶어요.
I want to know about your past, your feelings, and about every moment in your life.
들려주겠다고요?
Really? You'll tell me everything?
이번에 돌아가서 보자고요? 약속한 거예요?
I'll leave now and head home. You promised, right?
바깥에 문을 열었을 때 당신이 있었으면 좋겠어요.
I wish that you were here. I walk.
혹시
I don't know. I'm too tired.
내가 엉뚱한 상상한다고 비웃는 거예요?
Are you laughing at me?
들켰네요. 당신이
You found me out.
너무 보고 싶어요.
I really miss you. Oh.
수도 일을 최대한 빨리 끝내고 갈게요.
When everything
나중에 봐요.
is done, I'll head back. See you later. Oh, that was so cute. That was so good. Guys, I can't. I have so many feelings. That was such a good card. I love how they write Artem. I love how they write his stories. I feel so blessed. And this is why Artem remains #1 husbando.